Yeah, that's fun. It's a cute show. Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't even got it. Like, I just said that. I just said, I didn't say it out. Like, I did not have that. I have no idea. That's a lot of confounding right there. I don't want to talk. I don't know.
You probably appreciated it. Just
Both words in my like. Oh.
Hi. I'm sorry for the next sexual weapon.
Yeah.
I saw you next to the yeah.
I don't think we need to.
Bunny? Oh, no.
Maybe you didn't let me.
I think I did. Better good. Paper. Thank you though. Oh, yeah, now that might be a charge.
Oh.
Thanks.
All right, we've got 6 o'clock. I'd like to bring this city council meeting to order. I'm Mayor Steve Gibson, and we'd like to, with item 1A, Pledge of Allegiance, opening prayer, reading or expression of thought by Council Member Sean Wilkinson.
Please rise. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we are grateful to come before thee tonight, grateful for the many blessings and opportunities that we enjoy living here in this great city. We're grateful for the rain and the snow that we're receiving. We pray that that may continue. And we pray that each of us may do our part to help our community in whatever way we can, through kindness, through going out of our way to help others. And we pray that that will be something that each of us can do in our own way. And we pray for thy spirit to be here with us this evening. And we ask this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. I'd like to welcome Mayor Bolos. Ladies, gentlemen, put on a good show. We'll show them what a real council meeting is. Right? Item number 1B, declaration of conflicts of interest. Everybody had a chance to look at the agenda?
Yeah, I may make a comment on, I can't remember what agenda item it is, but I am not closely related or affiliated with the Marriott that is on the, which one is it? Can't remember which one it is. Development agreement.
Item 9.
9.
Item 9? Yeah, it's item 9.
Anybody else? Thank you. Item 1C, public comments for the mayor, city council, limited to 3 minutes. Mayor Bolos will give you some time during the PID description, unless you want to comment on something else. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent items. Item. What? I know, I thought he was gonna talk. Wow, all right. We're not doing very well, so we're doing here. Consent items, of the minutes of January 27th, February 4th, February 10th, open and closed, and we have bills of the city to pay.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent items.
Okay, we have a motion by Arrington, a second by Yuri, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, item number 3, we're not going to do because we did not get the award back in time. We're going to postpone that till March 10th. Item number 4, park regulation amendment. Discussion of possible action to amend chapter 12.12 park regulation to add pickleball court regulations and remove listed fees from the code. This will be ordinance 2026-9. Cindy. Thank you for being here.
Yes. You want me to begin with fees or pickleball court reservations?
Got to cover them both.
Okay, so, fees, we have proposed to just increase the fee for baseball up $5. Last year jerseys increased by $2. This year's there's an increase of an additional $1.60 just to keep with everything, and still keep our costs obviously as low as possible, but it's because those jersey fees have gone up that we need to make that change. And I believe that we also changed the fee for pickleball. We've not yet run a pickleball clinic, but because we won't be doing jerseys and those kinds of things, it was preemptively on the fee schedule at 55 because that's where all of our other programming was. But in reality, we could probably run that similar to our running club, which the fee is $35. So the changes there would be baseball going up to 60 and pickleball going to $35. Anybody have any questions about those fees?
So what we have in the packet is updated fees, right? That's the new fees.
Oh, and it looks like, yeah, it looks like we have also upped the flag football to 60 just to keep them all the same. So basically all of our programming is 60 for our older grades, our 3 through 6. And our younger grades for the instructional basketball and for T-ball is the $50. And then youth running club and pickleball at 35 because those don't require jerseys.
Do you have any idea how popular this pickleball club's going to be? Do you have any
We don't.
idea? I mean,
We don't know, but also we want to generate a lot of interest in the beginning and as many kids involved in it. And so I think it's a good idea to keep it
oh, no, I absolutely.
reasonable. I know, no, but that's why I'm saying like, hey, while we start it, maybe jump in at that and see where we're at. Last year was the first year we ran running club. We had, I think about 40 that registered at that $35. I would hope to be about there for our pickleball league as well.
Based on what's signing up at like the kitchen and stuff like that, I think we're gonna get a good response, I
Yeah.
think.
What is it for the kitchen? I mean, do you have any idea what a competitive?
Yeah, it's more for the kitchen, because it's a business
And it's
because
indoor and
it's indoors and lots those things, but they're running their leagues for, depending on length of the league, 60 to 90.
Well, Weber High actually started a pickleball club and they're starting teams as well, so.
I just wonder, if we're gonna have to hire somebody for that position, right? As
Yes.
a staff?
Money for all of our.
I know, I'm just saying, would one be able to handle 40 on?
Well, so it would, we have discussed how it would be staffed and right now we're thinking of staff with recreation, seasonal recreational staff. So myself as well, but then some of my older recreation staff. And so like that's already in our budget
Okay.
for running the league as far as that. But if we do later on wants to hire an instructor or coach or those kinds of things, we'd have to go down that differently
yeah.
because all of our other programs run with volunteer coaches and are staffed just by seasonal recreation staff.
Any idea how we compare to other surrounding cities?
As far as our fees, we're right there. Actually, North Ogden and we work together with a lot of our programming. So,
we will share, meaning third through ninth grade, then I will host third, fourth, fifth grade, she'll host the older grades. They are also upping their fees to the $60 for baseball. We've kind of made that decision together, like, hey, maybe we need to do this. Let's present it and go forward that way. The other cities that historically we've been involved with, Harrisville, Plain City, and Far West, they were probably right around 55 still. I don't know if they're going up this year, but our programming, we're not running with them like going forward because our numbers continually grow. So now we are doing our own programming here in Pleasant City. So it's not the case where it historically has been, hey, somebody signed up here for $50 and here for $60, but they play the same field, the same whatever. Does that make sense?
It does.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion?
I have I mean, not about the actual fees. I'm just curious about the insurance. And but I know that's not really what we've been really looking at changing, but is that, I don't know what it costs to do that? I mean, I'm wondering if that's really a prohibitive thing for our residents
To
to,
do,
that the $1 million insurance certificate to have any,
Okay.
any group, I think.
different item, we can go on to that. So that is, they are required any, or how it's stated here on the pickleball reservations, if it's for profit, then they have to
Have it,
provide that $1 million insurance. And actually, if you want to know the truth, I think we're on the low end there. Farmington City
Yeah.
requires 3 million.
Really?
And it's something that if they're providing an event, they can purchase that insurance for a couple $100 for just those couple of days. But it's absolutely necessary if a league or an organization is coming in. Right now, that only affects like junior lacrosse and SWAT soccer that reserve our fields. They provide this certificate of insurance, but we would need to have the same thing on our pickleball courts if a league, if somebody running a tournament is coming, because we don't want that liability for us to run it for their event. And that's why it's stated here that if it's for profit, if they are in
Yeah.
any way having money exchange hands for registrations or for anything, then it becomes a private event. It becomes their event and they
And
cover
if it's a
that.
public event too, if they're providing, well, the city then would carry that if it's a public event, but.
Yes, so other reservations that people would want to reserve for, like family reunions, we have some citizens that have reached out about a Weber High 1967 class reunion. Those things wouldn't require this certificate because it's just, they're reserving the courts, they're getting together, they're playing, but it's not like an event or a
For profit.
profit type thing.
Okay.
That's pretty standard. The school district requires that at least $1 million, and other cities and organizations I've seen as well, so.
May I make a
And
motion?
1 second, sorry, I
Go
got
ahead.
one comment. So one thing I did notice in the park, in the chapter 12.12 park regulations, if you go under designated hours, 12.12.015, it just talks about, you know, when you can and can't be in the park, like it's saying that, let's see, 1/2 hour after sunset and 1/2 hour before sunrise is when it's saying that you know, can't be in the park. And then when we go over to park use guidelines, it says the park curfew is 11 PM. So that's something we might need to address.
Yeah, well, so a little bit further, just where you were, it says exception, participation in or attendance at city authorized sporting events. This is under the 12.015. Authorized sporting event or other city authorized event like our movies in the park.
Or fire.
Or in connection, yeah. Individual group pickleball courts are available for use until 11 PM. Lights and power will shut automatically around this time. And then says no overnight parking or camp.
Right, so if we're not doing, like, can someone be at the park just playing until 11, or do they have to be gone 1/2 hour after sunset if it's just out and, you know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
just felt like there was a
They can
discrepancy
stay
there.
till 11. That's usually what the standard's been.
So what Anne is saying is that then we would want to scratch this part where it says 1/2 hour before or after sunset.
Yeah, like, is now the time to do that, to fix that in the code, or do we need to do that another day?
I just want to point out too, it's worded so that they can be there after sunset and before sunrise.
I know.
So it's actually quite
flipped,
opposite of
Yeah.
what your intent is.
exactly.
But this wasn't anything that,
No,
that
no,
got
I know.
strange from her.
I know,
But yeah,
if we're cleaning it up now,
Uh-huh.
I'm cleaning it up now.
That's exactly why a lot of this is happening. You'll see other red lines here about bounce houses. We used to have them. And legal said no, so we no longer provide those, so we're just scratching it on this run through since we were cleaning up anyways.
I'd like to bring up something though, you know, a pickleball that we have lights, we can have it till 11. In the park though, I just wonder if we want the kids out of there before it gets too dark, because there's nothing they can do after dark.
City curfew is actually
10, isn't it? I think it's,
11.
it's always been known that the parks are closed at 10 typically, so.
What's the plan? We asked to wait a half hour.
So I think that's, you know, twilight, there's no reason for anybody to be in the park without lights. Even if it's before 11.
So maybe instead of saying park curfew is 11 PM, maybe we say pickleball curfew is 11 PM on the park use guideline. I'm just saying there's. some
I think the
discrepancies.
attorney had a comment.
Yeah, so it just has that exception that you can play pickleball till 11 and then the park otherwise is closed. So like he said, if someone's there playing pickleball, they're not in violation of the curfew. If it's after 11, obviously they're in violation of everything. So the way it reads is enforceable now, but if you want to change it to make it somewhat easier to understand or whatever, then that is council prerogative.
So, omit like, Councilmember Arrington mentioned.
Omit that.
Well, correct it to what she said.
So then you'd probably, I mean, I wouldn't just omit that because that's the exception. If you want to just say a certain time, that would be a way to clean that up, but then obviously different times of year,
Right.
so. It's
In
really.
middle of June or July, you know, it doesn't get dark till 10:30.
Right.
So they'd be, but
Right.
I just think we need to have something before sunrise and sunset. Just because we don't want people in the park until, you know, during dark.
Yeah, we went to enforce, like, we'll have people down in basketball and they'll pull and fall and donate. If you look at the codes, sports, pickleball. Somebody.
Kids do hang out in our parks
So-
way after that.
That's what we've been doing.
They're gone. I think
So-
that's,
Fine how the code reads then, you know, I agree with that. But then I think when we go to park use guidelines, it says park curfew is 11 PM, then that's where the confusion comes in. So
Can we just put, it's the, yeah,
Page 12.5.
we should just call it pickleball
court,
curfew
yeah.
is 11.
uh, what's on?
It's
Do you want?
12.5, okay.
Because then.
You-
12+2.
Yeah, thank you. So now I see where so I would just say, just use that consistent language, that it is 1/2 hour before sunrise, 1/2 hour after sunset. Yeah, sorry, I was looking at the code and now I see
Right.
where you're pointing at.
Okay, I
Yeah.
like that. So just keep the park use guidelines the same as the code.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Dave. You can make your motion now. I'm happy.
Don't you need to be out of town somewhere?
I don't know what.
Like, I mean, there is a noise ordinance that you can't make noise any earlier than like, I think it's like 6 to 10, something like that, 7 to 10, so. Yeah, you can't go out and.
Am I making a motion for the consolidated fee or both of them?
They're separate.
So we didn't are they separate? We
They are.
didn't talk about our pickleball reservations.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion for the fee then, and we'll get that cleared up, good? Okay. I'll make a motion that we,
Yeah, well, I think we do it all.
Reservations, does that go with the
Okay.
fees?
Yeah, we can, but it's all part of the same ordinance, right?
No, there's a resolution for.
They're pretty closely tied though, so let's just-
Well, I mean, ordinance 2026-9, what does that consist of? That,
They have the pickleball regulation. And the fees have a pickleball fee. So if you don't want something changed, you can change it both.
Okay, she discusses it.
all right,
Pass
go
it.
ahead.
sorry. Sam.
Okay, so wait for another minute. Okay, so on 12.2, we've got our pickleball courts rental and usage. So we arrived at this by doing a market study, consulted with Brigham city, Farmington and Kaysville, they all have multiple courts similar to ours. Talked with them and their rec directors to see what they're charging and how that's all working out. That's how we arrived at this. We moved all of the fees from the ordinance to just say see fee schedule. Because a lot of times they were not the same in both places. So a lot of cleanup here. That was really good. Larry did a great job on making this more understandable. Our reservation fee for pickleball that we're proposing is, because that's separate. Does anybody have questions about the rental usage here while we're talking about that, and then we can talk about the fee? So our reservation, first come, first serve for all of our courts. We are proposing to reserve either the 4 courts, which are on the east, or the 6 courts that are on the west. Or once a month, we could allow rental of all of the courts together for a tournament. There would be an event application for that, of course, and if it's for profit, with the insurance certificate.
Is that fair? I mean, it'd be nice to just have one open court. Just for
So-
anybody, you know, because we have the new courts.
Yeah.
Or is a tournament gonna have to use them all? I mean, the tournament would want to use them all, but
Well, and that's why we restricted all 10 to just once a month.
And how many days? Of the
A tournament is generally 2 days.
2, so. Okay.
Would probably be a Friday, Saturday, and once a month, if somebody came in and wanted to pay that and to pay those fees. You'll see the fees over here in a second, but to do all 10 would be $750 for the day, so 2 days, $1,500 is, you know, making that on the court over there for people not to be able to play on it for 2 days. You know what I mean? I think that there's lots of interest in that, but that's why we took into consideration not letting that happen all of the time, and why they can either rent the 4 courts or the 6 courts. In addition to that, we have proposed for individual court reservations to be made on just the east 4 courts. Those would be any individual could reserve those. We were planning on taking care of this reservation through our sports sites software that we already use for registrations, or through myself that can access that. And people then per month could call in and register to reserve some
That was
individual court time.
$20 for 2 hours.
$20 for 2 hours, correct.
Which
Okay.
is still.
Which is actually pretty comparable to these other 3 cities that we
Yeah,
looked at.
okay.
And if you wanna know, sometimes it's even a little bit more.
We've also restricted that they can't do that before 10 AM because we have a lot of people go out and play, so nobody can reserve a court before 10
Right,
AM
to
for
10
an individual
Oh,
court
oh.
rental. So that still kind of protects the first come, first serve.
Definitely what we don't wanna have happen is it to turn into a pay to play, right? City facility, we want everybody to have access. That's why we're trying to put in some of these things to protect open courts and to protect everybody's ability to have access.
How do you police it if somebody says, hey, I've got a reservation, and they say, no, you don't, right? What happens in
Right.
that scenario?
Yes, so see, one of the kind of tricky things, we have written that into this rental usage where we want to post a QR code over there. QR code then would be able, anybody could scan it and see
Who's
the
on it.
current reservation. But otherwise, there's nobody there saying, hey.
You're
you know,
next or something, okay.
Right, and so if, say Mayor showed up over there, he has a reservation, people are on those courts, he is going to have to say, hey, I have a reservation. They can check it out and see with the QR code that, oh yeah, he does actually have a reservation. Also, those reservations will have to be made 48 hours in advance, just to make it so I don't show up at the courts, they're all full, and I'm like, oh yeah. I reserve it and kick people off. We don't want that to happen either, and it would. Yeah,
Okay.
if that was the problem.
That's smart.
Stetson, I need some help.
I actually think need to, it's that QR.
I was gonna say, call dispatch if people want to leave.
Yeah. Yeah, but it will be posted there at the courts where they could see that. They won't have to provide a receipt or something on their phone to say, hey, look, we have this. You know. Which, that's kind of how field reservations happen a lot of times because there's nowhere that will
And-
host that.
Okay, any other questions?
One other question, just under reservation process,
Yes,
and this is just really technical language stuff.
okay,
Where it says the second bullet point down must be made so we're talking reservations for individual courts must be made 48 hours prior to the reservation. It just didn't make sense to me. Can we just say must be made 48 hours in advance?
okay. Yeah,
And then same thing under reservations for tournaments and clinics must be made at least 2 weeks prior to the reservation, must be made at least 2 weeks in advance.
perfect.
Is that okay?
Yep, that's great.
Where was that last one at? Sorry.
On 12/2.
It just
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
make sense to me that we were saying the reservation had to be made 2 weeks prior to the reservation. So.
Good call out.
Got it.
Did we decide on the park curfew one for the guidelines? Because that's part of this, right?
Right, so we're just gonna add the code language in place
Yeah,
of
for the
those
park
park
riders.
hours.
But will
Okay.
you also flip flop that language?
Well, no, because now when you look at it closer, they're saying that like,
Needs to be before
it gives them
sunrise
30
and after sunset.
30 minutes after sunset to get out of there. And it gives them 30 minutes before the sun rises to be there.
Okay.
That's okay.
Does that still good? Okay, Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the park regulations amendment ordinance 2026-9 with adjustment to the rentals to say in advance for both individual and group. And the other red line would be change the park curfew to read the ordinance language of hour after sunset and half hour before sunrise. Is that all of them?
Like, we're okay leaving that wording the same, the half hour. We're leaving that the same. Yeah, okay.
Have a motion by Marriott,
I'll second that motion.
second by Yuri. This is a roll call vote, so let's go Marriott,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes,
Wilkinson,
Yes.
Yuri,
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Okay, that passes.
Thank
And then we,
Mayor, I'll
then
make,
we have,
Johnson.
item number 5. Huh?
Sorry.
no, we're fine.
Resolution 2026B.
yeah, I'll
I
make,
don't know that we talked about the fee. Are you good with that fee that is in there for pickleball? First group available.
Yeah, I
courts
think we
and
talked
costs?
about that.
yeah,
Okay.
we talked about, Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the consolidated fee schedule, resolution 2026B as presented.
I'll second that.
You have a motion and a second. I assume that's gonna be a roll call as well. 26-B. Let's go Arrington.
yes.
Barry. Yuri.
Yes.
Wilkins.
Yes.
Marriott.
Yes.
Perfect.
Now, thank you, Cindy, for all your help.
Thanks, Cindy. Item number 6, general plan amendment, discussion of possible action. To consider amending the general plan by amending approximately 4.93 acres of land located at approximately 3100 north, 1030 west from low-density residential, which is the current applicable zone, R20 to medium-density residential, limited single-family residential, Weber parcel there, and this is the ordinance 2026-6. The applicant is Omer Holdings, Omner, sorry, Omner. I'm a dog and high, sorry, I can't spell or do math. Omner Holdings, presenter Tammy.
Hey, I'm, excuse me. I am going to actually kind of combine this and the rezone, because they kind of just go hand in hand, but then there'll be two separate actions. So the general plan amendment, currently the property that is in the application is, as the mayor said, designated as low-density residential, and the applicant is proposing changing that density to medium-density residential to develop that as a smaller lot development and applying the LSFR, limited single-family residential zone in that area. they have brought forward a concept plan of 19 residential lots. And as I said, that's a concept plan. It's not, it has not been through any kind of subdivision review at this point. The general plan amendment would make it, make the LSFR zone work there. So if, depending on your decision tonight of the general plan amendment, then the rezone would actually, what's the word I'm looking for? Sorry, that it would comply with the general plan. In going through kind of the standard development standards of the resident of the LSFR zone, that, as you may remember, is a fairly new zone. It has a minimum lot size of 7,260 square feet. Minimum lot width 65 feet. The setbacks are a little bit smaller than our other residential zones, RE 15 and RE 20, with 25-foot front setbacks and 25-foot rear setbacks. As well as the side yard setbacks are a little bit smaller, with a combined total of minimum 16 feet, 8 feet minimum on each side. The residential, or that residential zone requires a maximum of 60% of impervious surfaces. So it kind of just is up to you to decide whether or not the general plan, if that's something that we want to look at changing in that area. It is right there kind of on the outskirts of an RE 15 zone, and kind of between that and more commercial zones. It's also close to the future city decant facility property, as well as the new cemetery lots. Sorry, and I was gonna just mention, Planning Commission, they recommended approval. It was a split. We did have 2 planning commissioners that voted against it, but for the most part, it was a 5-2 vote.
So a maximum of minusing the infrastructure, 29 units, possibly.
19, she said.
Wasn't it?
What their proposal is 19.
Okay. With
For that
some
area.
open space and.
Well, if you just took the
Oh,
acreage and divided it by the 7260, they could. do
Right.
29.
Right,
okay, so minusing the infrastructure and things, so it could be 19
yes.
units.
At least that's what they've
Yeah.
brought forward. The, let me just look, I think, okay, so, yeah, on the medium density designation is 4 to 8 dwelling units per acre. They're proposing, I think, 6 is what it works out to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of the comments from Planning Commission, our Commissioner Julie Farr, her concern was that she would like to, instead of changing the general plan a little bit at a time, she would like to look at doing an overall redo of the general plan, so that it's not just little bits and pieces. So that was her comments. Commissioner Gosner, he felt like it wasn't noticed out there to the community as well as it should have been, but we followed the noticing requirements of the state. And so, I think he was a little disappointed that we're changing the general plan, or looking at changing the general plan, and not having a great turnout from the community as doing that. There were a couple public comments based on the rezone, but they were all positive comments, that they we're in support of that. So.
I have a comment. So we recreated this LSFR zone to help just meet the needs of people who like are seniors who wanted to have like housing that wasn't like on a huge lot and stuff like that, but we haven't actually designated where that's gonna go in the city. So I've been trying to create this designation just so people can have like almost, I want to call it a patio home, but it's not necessarily a patio home, but that kind of feel, you know? And personally, I think this is a good spot for it. And I also agree with Commissioner Farr that we should look at the whole city and look at where we really want this to go instead of time by time considering. But anyway, I'm actually in support of putting this here. Haven't heard from the public hearing yet, but at this point, I think we do need spots for this zone. Seems to be a good fit.
And one of the comments that the developer made was that it's kind of, he feels like it's a good area for this zone because it is kind of a transition from the lower density to commercial and manufacturing. As, you know, right, not too far off is Highway 89, where there are some, you know, C2 or CP2 and those zones.
Yeah, that, my concern exactly is that it's just this little piece that we're talking about. We really ought to be considering all the other properties around it, and it really needs to be addressed as a general plan. And I don't think personally tonight, I don't know enough, that we really can't talk about the additional properties around it. So
There is another property owner that they have the adjacent property, the Casey's. And they are looking at doing the same thing on their piece of property, kind of just waiting to see how this comes forward with you guys tonight with the Omner property as to whether or not they
Would
move
it
forward.
border it like directly, or would there be a buffer? in
If you look,
between it all?
if you look at the concept plan in your packet, there's a couple temporary turnaround that would lead into the Casey's property.
So my only thought with that, and it's not necessarily because it would be landlocked on the other side, right? And not landlocked, excuse me, there's development on this side right here. On the other side of the Cape.
yeah, it's further east over here.
Okay, is that the intent of the LSFR was to make it so that there would be pockets of areas, not a huge, you know, sprawl of areas of the, you know, the limited single family residential. And so that would be my only concern with that. And so that's why I agree with Ann and Dave of doing a comprehensive evaluation, you know, of the general plan, but this is a great area, and that wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea either to have that next to it, but the more you get, you know. So, just some thoughts that way.
Also think the roads plan, we don't really have a road plan through this because it's never been considered. So it's worth where do we want the connectivity, and
The only negative that I see is this sets a precedent.
Well,
For-
if you're
for-
gonna have it there, then,
Well,
yeah,
but I want it in my backyard. I want it, this in peace.
Yep.
And, you know, the state is pushing some of these things, like it or not. I don't know. It's up to you guys.
well, this is.
Anyway,
the cemetery right here, our property. So this is actually.
So this will be the general plan amendment portion only, 2026-6.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve this general plan amendment ordinance 2026-6.
Does this need a public hearing?
We can have a public hearing. The next item is public hearing.
oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's only required to hold at least one public hearing, which it is, yeah.
So if you're approving it as
I made a motion, yeah.
approve it as.
So just so I understand with what you just said about the public hearing, if the public wanted to comment on this, they needed to go to the planning meeting
Right.
and commission meeting and express their concern.
That's fairly recent within the last year.
Yeah.
It used to be at both meetings.
Yeah. You know, based on public input, I would vote no on it, but
Okay, so we have a motion from Marriott, right?
no.
Arrington. Sorry.
It's okay.
Who seconded it? Nobody.
There's no second.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Yuri,
Yes.
Ferry,
No.
Harrington,
Yes.
Marriott,
No.
Wilkinson.
No.
Okay, it fails 3-2. Okay. Item number 7, is that moot at this point?
Well, you can rezone it.
I don't think we want to do that, yeah. So, our legal, that's a moot point, correct? Typically? Should we open it up to public? I don't know. how much.
No, I would still take a vote on it, or it's
Okay,
a separate action item.
we need to open it up to the public?
Did this have a public hearing?
It's noticed as a hearing.
Do you not have a,
I
For the
do.
rezone.
Yeah, I was just wondering if the public hearing was held at the planning commission.
We did have a public hearing in
Okay.
planning.
Yeah. So you can hold a public hearing if you are so inclined to do so.
Sammy, do you have anything else to say, or? Okay, we'd like to open this up to the public. Well, I make a motion that we open a public hearing.
You can. I'll make the motion.
Excuse me. I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing. Sorry.
So moved,
We're
Mayor.
not doing very good here.
He's still got city council on his
I
brain.
still have city council in my brain. Okay. Harrington,
Second.
Wilkinson, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're now in a public hearing. Anybody wish to comment?
Mayor,
State your name and address, please.
Chris Casey, 326 Casey Lane. So my family owns the property adjacent to the one you're talking about. I came to the public at the last meeting, planning meeting. And I'm a little confused as to why you would say no when the state is saying this needs to be done. We need to have homes for our kids. We need to have lots for our kids. And the only reason Julie didn't like it is she didn't like piecemealing it. But if you don't put a plan together, then you're never gonna get anything done. You've got a land right adjacent to my mom's property that is gonna be landlocked pretty much if you don't help with a plan as well. So Omner Holdings, my mom's property, that'd be great for patio homes, smaller type homes. If your only objection is that you don't have a plan, then when are you gonna put a plan together? So, because I didn't hear what your objections were, I just heard no. So I'd like to hear what your objection to. Oh, and then we can go from there, because Gosner and Julie both said at that last meeting that they liked the idea. Julie just didn't like the fact that you guys are piecemealing here and doing acceptance here. And Gosner said, I like it too, but I just don't think it was advertised well. So we had 2 or 3 people in support of it that knew what was going on. So anyway, it's just my comment. So
Thank
I'd
you.
like to hear what your objection is, and then what your plan is to go from there. Because like I said, if you don't have a plan, then nothing's ever gonna get done.
Perfect. And generally, we don't comment back on that typically, but,
I wouldn't mind commenting on it if I can. Yeah, just, I mean, for me, we need to address the whole piece of property, and I think it needs to be done, not just that piece, but all of the pieces that are down there. If we don't have a good general plan, we don't know the connectivity of the roads, where the roads need to go. And I'm not against it, the density as much as I am, we're just talking about one specific piece of property, and we're not talking about the other 10 parcels that are around it that are undeveloped. So, and it's been a long time since we've talked about that area, and some of it is owned by Pleasant View City. We've got to work through that a little bit, and then we also need to work on the other pieces that are there. That's my opinion on it. That's why I voted no.
can I just make one little comment? We do have a planning session this Saturday, and the mayor asked us to bring some ideas to talk about. It's a strategy session with staff and mayor and city council. That was one of the things that I would like to talk about at that meeting, not that it will be decided or when everything, but we haven't had a general plan comprehensive update since 2017. it's due. We need to do that. And so that's something that I would like city council with staff to proceed and take care of. And that's part of what we need to look at, of where patios would look great, would be great to have in our city, because we do need that component, absolutely, and other different types of housing. So just a thought, not guaranteed, but something that I plan on bringing up on Saturday.
Mayor, if I may. So we have a proposal before us tonight. We heard that an adjacent property owner wants to do the same thing. There's also 5.93 acres owned by Omner Holdings just south of the property proposed, or just west, west and south. It would be fantastic to have all of those parties come together, put a plan together and show us what that's going to look like. We shouldn't piecemealing development. I have no idea what this is going to do to our infrastructure, what this might look like from an engineering perspective. We don't have any of that information. And I would expect if a resident is proposing to take this much additional density, that there would be some explanation as to how this is going to affect the city. There would have been some due diligence done. There would have been plans put together. There would have been some effort and some expense put in place so that the city is not bearing the burden of that. And that's why I voted against this. I'm not opposed to this being that location, but I don't have the information in front of me right now to make that decision. So that's why I voted against it.
Any other public comment? Just state your name and address, please.
Dixie Higgs, 3195 North, 1030 West. I don't even know where to start. No, I'm not opposed to having neighbors. I live right there on that dead end street. I would just like to see, like what Dave was talking about, like the roads, and see where things are going to be connecting and everything like that, because personally, I don't want a through street right there going out to 89. I would like to keep my dead end street right there, nice and quiet. I love the idea of having something out in that field besides the weeds that get taller than the houses. So as far as a resident right there concerned, I would love to see like the plan. I would love to see how it's laid out, the roads that are gonna be going through, where it's gonna be connecting from like Mount Orchard Drive and out to 89 and down, where it goes through Casey Lane or whatever. So that's what I would like to see. So thank you very much.
Anybody else? See-
Density or no density, not want low density.
If you have a comment, come up to the mic, please. You have to be on the public recording. Say your name and address, please.
3195 North, 1030.
What was your name again?
Ryan Higgs. But I was just wondering if we're gonna do, I don't want more low density across 89. I didn't buy my lot and build my house there. I grew up here and I don't want to be around that. If they're medium or high density, that's fine. I just need to know, so if I'm gonna have to put up my house for sale somewhere else.
This proposal was for up to 6 units per acre, so.
So if they keep them, half acre lots like everybody else, that's just gonna, if you go below that, it's gonna, my property value's gonna drop too, so. I don't agree with it. Thanks.
Thank you. I'll allow you one more time, but just be quick, please.
Chris Casey. As for you were saying, we'd love to put stuff together. How much information does the city council need? It gets very costly for the homeowner, for the owner of the land, to put all this. It shouldn't be necessarily, we shouldn't have to do engineered plans for it just so you can think about it. And then it's been really hard to meet the city planner or to get a hold of the city planner to even get that information to her. So-
Welcome to the world of developers.
Yeah.
He's got the good news.
Anyway, so yeah, we'd love to get you stuff, but I know I'm not talking for Omner Holdings. but I know it all depends on lots of other things.
Mayor, are you okay if I follow?
Keep it brief. but I-
Sure, I'll be brief.
I would just say, keep in mind, you are still in public
Yeah.
hearing. Usually council
Yeah.
will reserve their comments until
Yeah.
after.
Seeing no other public, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Now, John, go ahead.
Thank you. I don't think we're talking about engineered drawings. I think we're talking about the larger area. What I don't want to see is one come in, we approve it, and then there's 5 more acres or 6 more acres, and then another 3 or 4 acres over here. And it just, one after another, they're just waiting to see what we do with the one instead of, if you all know what you want to do, come show us a concept. We're not talking about engineered drawings. Have a conversation with Tyson and with Dana, and let's talk about what water and sewer and roads look like in that area so that you have an idea of what's realistic. If you're asking for that kind of density from the city, there should be something that the city is benefiting from in return. And that's, this is a legislative decision. If we're going to give you something, there should be some benefit in return to the city that benefits the entire city. So that's my thought.
So as per legal recommendation, how do we state this for this motion or this item number 8, or excuse me, 7, excuse me.
If the county finding would be either approved or project the proposal as a reject the rezone.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to deny the rezone on item number 7 for ordinance parcel 19-016-0082, ordinance 2026-7. Is that good enough to deny the rezone on item number 7, the 4.93 acres of land at 3100 North and 1030 West? There you go.
Okay, we have a motion by Yuri,
I'll second the motion.
Harriet. This is also roll call. So,
This is a no vote, right?
well, there you go.
Just yep,
Who wants to-
We say,
if you wanted.
If you don't want to,
it's like a double negative. It's killing me.
All right, let's go with Arrington.
Yes, but I want to be on the public record that just because it's against the general plan amendment.
Okay. So yes to deny. Ferry,
Yes.
Marriott,
Yes.
Erie,
yes.
Wilkinson. Yes. Yeah, it passes 5 on the negative to deny, or the positive to deny. Item number 8. This is a rezone public hearing. Discussion of possible action to consider a rezone for approximately 0.5 acres land located at 3347 North, 100 West from A2 agricultural and RE15 residential to RE20 residential. Parcel stated there, this will be ordinance number 2026-8. Applicant is Holly Horman. Tammy will present, and then once Tammy presents, we'll open it up for a public hearing.
Okay. This one is a little bit less complicated. This is for a lot that is, well, 2 lots. They're on the corner of 3350 North and 1000 West. Ms. Horman owns both of those lots. And if you look in your packet, the one of them is an RE15, one is an RE20, and at the back of the RE20 lot is A2. She has purchased the RE15 lot and is in the middle of a boundary line adjustment approval with the DRC to combine the L-shaped part or crooked part on the north side with her current residence lot, the RE 20. So it's going to make that corner lot more usable to join that with her current home. The rezone comes as doing that boundary adjustment would create an even more split zoned lot. Because she's already got RE 20 and A2 on her current lot, and that would combine a third zone on that lot. So this is just kind of the RE 15 lot, it's part of Indian Springs, I believe, and that would, that still has enough square footage to meet the RE 15 requirements. And so it is still a buildable lot. It would just increase the size of her lot that faces 1000 West. So we're just trying to clean up that so she can move forward with her boundary adjustment.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to open a public hearing for item number 8.
So moved.
A motion by Yuri,
Second.
second by Ferry, all in favor?
Aye.
I,
Okay, we're now in a public hearing. I do have one letter I received that I'd like to read into public, and Laurie, I will send it to you.
Just to clarify, Lori's asking a question about they will be going to RE 20. So the part that we're rezoning is the older piece that faces 1000 West, and it will be going to RE 20.
from
other-
two.
Well,
It
it's
has
fine.
A2 and R50.
So the lot is like kind of an upside down L shape. The top of the L would be, it currently is RE 15. So that would be being rezoned to RE 20. And then the little sliver at the back of her current home lot is A2, but that would also be, the whole thing would be rezoned to RE 20.
So to make the
Sorry.
whole thing RE
Make
20.
the whole thing RE 20, except the part that's staying RE
Yes.
15.
Right, okay. Which is a whole
That's
different
clear
lot
as
though.
mud, yes.
Yeah.
Is it-
That would
is
be a
it-
different
Is that
lot.
accurate in this?
That is her, her proposed lot line adjustment or boundary adjustment.
But that won't happen tonight.
No, that's being
That's
reviewed
the
by
zoning that you're
DRC.
talking about. The zone would comply to this,
Right,
Yes.
right. So the larger lot would be the RE 20.
and the parcel
and
would be
parcel B
RE
would be
15
RE
still.
15. It remains RE 15.
Is there any reason why we wouldn't keep it RE 15 at the top of that lot? You couldn't combine the zones if they were,
Well, because she's
same-
changing the lot, the boundary line there,
Okay.
it would need to be,
all one,
and
so
it
all one zone.
wouldn't be, it's not big enough to be a standalone lot. So
Right,
she,
that sliver next to her.
right.
I do have a email from a citizen. Mayor, City Council, first, thank you for your service to the community. Second, on this item for the rezone, I am one of the 2 property owners adjacent to this property and the only owner adjacent to both parcels. I think this is a wonderful idea and would hope that you approve this change. Thank you again, Toby Molesky. And Laurie, I'll send that to you for the public comments. Any other public comment? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to go out of public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Harrington and Barry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any other comments? Not, I'd entertain a motion.
Just curious, how long has this sat on the market, this lot? I think that L one's been there for a while, hasn't it?
175 years.
Since they did that, punch through the road. They just
Since the-
punch through a road.
Well, since the development came in, which has been, it's been finished for 3 years, 4 years now. 21.
So 5 years. Yeah, 5 years.
Mayor,
So wonky.
I'll make a motion that we rezone, item agenda 8. It is ordinance number 2026-8 to RE 20.
Okay, we have a motion by Harrington, second
Second.
by Ferry. Okay, this is also a roll call vote.
Can I just clarify, we,
So, the boundary, description, the lot description that Larry has, in the ordinance is not correct. So that needs to be adjusted. And then we'll have to give her the correct,
Hang on.
legal description for that full.
Yeah, you'll just need to amend your motion then to correct and to
Yeah,
the legal description and include that.
Okay.
because I think there's a legal description on her exhibit for the boundary adjustment. And I guess that's not what,
Just the parcel that's not, that you, new ones have come up.
okay.
They combine,
Okay.
whatever that. combines.
So where's the legal?
This should be the
description?
combined.
Just tell me which one I need to reference.
Mine, I just got off the website, or off
Okay.
the-
Oh, okay.
So that's, both this legal description for the boundary adjustment and put it on that.
In the ordinance
So how do you state that?
with the correct legal description.
Okay. I'll go again then. I'd like to make a motion that we approve agenda item 8, which is a rezone from to RE20, ordinance 2026-8 with the legal description
Change.
changed,
Corrected, yeah.
corrected.
And so,
Johnny?
yes.
Correct, okay.
Can I just clarify again though, parcel A? In that motion, parcel A would be RE20, parcel B would remain RE15.
Yes.
Okay, we have Wilkinson,
Yes.
Erie,
Yes.
Ferry,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Mary.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Okay, development agreement, item number 9, discussion of possible action to approve the development agreement for residential subdivision, Grand Legacy subdivision to be conducted in 2 phases, consisting of a total of 63 single-family residential building lots located in the RE20 zone at approximately 3950 north, 200 west. The applicant is Amy Roskelly Marriott Companies. Andrea is presenting today.
Yep, just give Laurie a second to share that. Oh, I don't know why it does that. Will you let-
So this is for Grand.
I just. Fine, but not, what's your comment? Yeah.
Oh, that sounds.
Okay, so I guess it's not gonna go up big for me, but that's okay, we'll make it. Okay, so what you have before you today is Grand Legacy Development Agreement. It is at, ignore this, I'm used to being in Far West, 950 North, 200 West, not 2000 West, with those Weber County parcels. Section 1 of the development agreement just addresses your standard whereas recitals. So in section 2, under infrastructure, the following infrastructure will be inspected and evaluated. So the sanitary sewer, the storm drain, the secondary water, your curb and gutter. To be replaced in that is the culinary water lines, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. So on the sanitary sewer and the storm drain, the developer is going to go in and camera those lines and identify what they would like to remain in place. The city then is going to compare the evaluation to the standards, the public works standards that we have, and decide if that's acceptable to remain or if they're going to have to replace additional sections.
Andrew, can I say, it's all because this has sat there for so long?
Yes, this development was started in 2008, I believe. Yeah, so kind of when the market crashed, and so they had installed some infrastructure and then like kind of abandoned the project for many years. So they're coming back to try and fill that space out. In the culinary and the secondary water, so on that red circle right there is a valve for the culinary water. So everything, including that valve and the arrow pointing to the right,
all of those water lines will be replaced. Everything on the outside of that development has been pressurized and in use. Secondary water system is gonna be, we're gonna leave that up to the developer and Highview Water to go in and evaluate those lines and determine what's viable and what needs to be replaced. The curb and gutter, the developer's gonna inspect all the curb and gutter there. They're gonna identify the spots that they want to remain or the segments that they would like to remain. City's gonna go in, make sure that it meets our standards and identify any more that will need to be replaced. This is the phasing plan of this, over here. In section 3 on the development standards, these are pretty standard as our ordinance reads between, besides the density, and we'll talk about that. The fire safety and the spark arresters is standard code. The vegetation is standard code. We did call out that the rock outcroppings should be avoided. Because of this development agreement and the developer's proposal to do mass grading in the project is why we've reduced the density. Because normally the slope would prohibit that density, but we'll get to that on the retaining wall section.
Can you say, what about the rock outcroppings that are on there?
They're to be avoided. So there's any rock outcroppings will have to remain in place.
All probably graffiti, I'm not sure.
Those rocks, there's a lot of rocks.
We had some commissioners that were very adamant that the rocks remain. Under section 3 on the trails, they're gonna make sure that there's trail access to that canal trail. And then the developer will install 5 off-street parking stalls that will become dedicated to the city, once that development is accepted. I'm not sure exactly where they're putting those, so I just included the whole little trail section. So the mass grading in the retaining walls, this is where we changed the density with the slope. So the developer is proposing to come in and mass grade the entire area. And then install retaining walls. So the slope, max slope on the building pad is less than 25%, and outside the building pad is 35%. We feel like this is really beneficial to the city to have the developer come in, preemptively install all of those retaining walls. The retaining walls, once the development is completed, those will become the lot owner's responsibility and they will own those walls. So the lot owner will be maintaining those walls in the future. That's it for that. The planning commission recommended approval of this with no changes in the development agreement.
Public hearing.
No. Any discussion?
I just had one. Just so the infrastructure, is the city inspecting, so the developer's gonna inspect it and see what they want to change, and then
And then
the
the city's
city's gonna go verify what that is.
Yep.
Do we need a third party to do that? Or, I mean, do we feel adequate that we, as a city, can inspect those properly? And I'm assuming we can, but
Tyson and Dana approved of this wording in the development agreement, so I'm sure that they're confident that they can,
they'll-
sure that they are up to the standards.
okay.
I'll just add, it doesn't prevent them from contracting it out and having someone come in and
Oh,
do
okay,
that
they
inspection.
could do that if they
Yeah.
felt uncomfortable with it.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So development agreements do not require a public hearing?
They did they have a public hearing at
Okay,
and
that's the only time.
planning commission, yes.
Yep.
And there were a few public comments at planning commission meeting. Mostly there was some concerns about blasting in order to do foundations. Jeff Hales with Marriott Companies indicated that they wouldn't be doing any of the blastings. There was a comment about, where the water would drain to, which that's all going to go through the engineering with the subdivision approval. This is just the development agreement. And then there was a concern about insurance, who would be liable for injury
on certain rocks. So those are the comments that were expressed during planning commission.
That include rattlesnake bites and poison ivy, right?
Well, I do know that they have a lot of water issues up there, a lot of drainage issues, and so the residents that brought that up, that's a valid concern. If now you're create more impervious surface, that really, I'm confident our staff will.
Right, but
enforce
you are,
those
are
things.
also going to, increase the infrastructure that is meant to
True.
handle that stormwater.
True.
Where right now it's just running through an undeveloped piece of property.
And I'm just sorry, I'm gonna add that the water issue is a little premature because right now you're only approving the development agreement. It's not the subdivision, which will still go through all the standard approvals required to do all of that and comply with ordinances.
This applies to all of the phases, right? We're talking
4, 5,
about
6.
the agreement, but there is, I think only 4 is actually has construction on it already, or was 4 and 5 already previously, were they previously,
Their phasing plan, 4 or 5 have not been.
How can you not read that?
well, I can't remember. I know I've been up there, but
Yeah.
just 4, okay. But 5, does it already have infrastructure in place? There's no infrastructure, okay.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the development agreement for the Grand Legacy subdivision.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion by Arrington, a second. On favor?
Aye.
I,
Any opposed? There you go. Hopefully it's better this time than it was last time.
If I make one comment there, just not off the record, just want to say thank you. We've been working on this development agreement for 2 years. I just wanted to thank staff. We came in the spirit of agreement, and I know there was a lot of history to this site sitting, and just wanted to say Tyson, Dana, Tammy, and everybody.
Just leave our rock outcroppings alone.
We
Maybe you
won't.
can power wash, all the graffiti off.
We see your rock.
Good. Be careful of the rattlesnakes and the. All right, item number 10, development agreement, discussion possible action to approve a development agreement for mixed-use commercial residential development. This is Link Crossing subdivision to be conducted in 3 phases, including 137 townhouse units located in the mixed-use west zone at approximately 2700 north, Highway 89. The applicant is Patrick Burns and presenter will be Andrea Steiniger.
Okay, so as he said, this is this mixed-use development that's being proposed on the corner of 2700 and 89. It's where Young Ports,
The Fleming
Is-
property.
Fleming property, the hill with the chair on the top of it. I'm known as a lot of different things in this area. This development is being required because in the mixed-use west ordinance, if they would like the residential component included in their development, they are required to have a development agreement. Sorry, it's smaller. They have to improve or install the site improvements before they can get any commercial permits. And then there's the phasing plan. This is exactly how the ordinance reads, where they are allowed their first commercial permit and then they are permitted 30% of their housing. And then once 33% of commercial has been completed, they're allowed up to 67%. And then once 67% of commercial is completed, then they're allowed up to the 100% of their housing. So it's guaranteeing that commercial development. So you're not just gonna end up with a bunch of houses and then they're gonna abandon the commercial site.
did we propose those percentages or
Yeah.
that was us, right? Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
in
th-
the ordinance.
Yeah, this is part of that ordinance, 75-25 and
Yeah.
commercial
Yeah.
before
In
any.
3 phases, yeah.
Okay.
And when I look at it, it looks like a whole lot of housing, but I guess down to the square inch, it is the
So
25,
it's 25%
75.
of the entire site, and that does calculate right out to 137 townhomes
So,
or residential units.
25% of the,
Entire property. Yes.
Are there additional units being proposed in mixed-use buildings?
So it has been talked about in DRC, and I've run by legal the way that the code reads. It can be read either way.
it also allows for 25% of a commercial building to be residential. And right now, as the ordinance reads, it's debatable whether it's either or and. So unfortunately, the way that it's read right now is ambiguous and can be, and then we have to go in favor of the applicant at that time. We are proposing to make this correction once this has gone through. They're held to how the ordinance currently reads.
But in the development agreement, we can define what, development agreement is only if they want the housing component. And that's still a negotiation between the city and the applicant. We don't have to allow that unless we agree upon that.
So they're entitled, the development agreement is a change to the ordinance as it stands, is since that's the ordinance as it stands now, you can't come in and say, we're gonna remove that from you. They're entitled to that by right because the way the ordinance reads now.
If we approve the development agreement.
If you'd approve the development agreement, but they're still entitled to that, that ordinance as it reads now. The ordinance is what it is, regardless of approval of the development agreement or not.
Sure.
So Sean, what are you pointing out that they could actually put housing on top of, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
there are, as Andrea mentioned, there are two provisions. One talks about the entire site, it's 25%, and then they have to, it's no more than 20 units per acre, and they have to be at least a minimum of 900 square feet. But then there's section B, which talks specifically about mixed use buildings. And it says that 25% of the entire project area of mixed use buildings can be, I guess they can put residential units in those mixed use buildings up to 25%. But that's another part I don't understand about the code, is that 25% of just the mixed use buildings throughout?
Yes.
And have those been designated on the site plan? I think that's my biggest concern.
They have not.
Okay.
Well, because we just have a concept plan right now.
Right.
With the development agreement, so this still has to go through division and site plan approvals. And
But-
those are subject to the regular approval process.
But we will know the total number of units because potentially there will be more than 137.
That's correct.
So we just don't know what that total residential number will be.
Correct.
But it is limited, isn't it limited? By the percentage limit?
Percentage of a building, yes. So let me go to this. So the orangish looking buildings that run north and south there, they've listed as flex space. Also to the right of that circle, the long, big circle at the bottom is some flex space. In talking to Mr. Burns after the planning commission meeting, he indicated that he was looking at potentially doing, so when we've had applications for flex space, we just consider that what we've seen throughout the city, where they put up a kind of a metal type building and then the tenants come in and they tenant improve it as needed. His definition of flex space was where they would do a business on the bottom and residential on the top of the building. So that's something that.
But we don't have that defined.
We do not. Yeah,
So-
flex space is not defined, so it's up to, he put it on here with one vision in mind, and that's not how we read it. So potentially in these flex spaces, he's looking at putting residential above. I don't know to what extent, whether it's half of those units or if it's, but they still would only be allowed 25% of that building in residential space.
Just curious as a newbie, when you come across something that hasn't been defined like this, or we haven't had a situation like this, you go with what is, or do you wait? What do you typically do? I guess it's situational.
Well, and especially if the code doesn't read it, can we then, that doesn't have to be in the development agreement, the word flex. And if we haven't defined it, do we get to define it then?
I'm not even concerned about I think we just take flex space out and it's commercial. The commercial uses are defined in the code. That's what he is limited to. And
With 25% being residential in the
Correct.
mixed use west, yes.
But just take that out, so.
But as far as flex space, the code says mixed use, and that's, if he wants to propose a mixed use building as per the code, that's fine. But for him to call it flex space and for us to call flex space something else, let's just remove the term flex space from the development agreement.
Right. Which I don't think that it's in the agreement anywhere.
It is,
Oh. Under
yeah,
which
it's
one?
it's under the project, number 2, project overview, A, project description.
Recitals?
It's the third line down, together with commercial, flex use and mixed use buildings. So he's defining flex use as something different than mixed use.
I think I'm-
So let's omit flex space.
Okay, can you call out where that's at again?
Yeah, so section 2 of the agreement, project overview.
Okay.
Third line down, under section A. It's in, oh yeah, and it's in section B as well. You're right, under commercial development.
Curious, did this go through the planning commission already?
It did.
And they didn't raise any flag with that definition?
But no, but that wasn't discussed with Mr. Burns until after the meeting.
There was only, yeah.
Yeah, there was no indication to the planning commission that that's how some of these buildings would be utilized. We did go over the fact of the 25% of project area and 25% of commercial buildings. So, I mean, the definition of flex space is a moot point.
This is a new area for us, if you recall. We tried to
Well, this is, yeah.
make something down there that had some components of both. And I mean, in talking to Mr. Burns a little bit, I feel confident, but you never know. I mean, you definitely have to outline different things, but I think he wants to have a really good project there. We'll have some housing component to it. And, anyway. I think-
No, like Sean's, I think that would be an appropriate thing to, with Sean's, recommendations there,
Change.
to omit the flex space in those 2 different paragraphs.
Well, so I don't even know if it matters with the commercial, because like you said, if somebody says flex space, we say, develop it, meet our commercial standards, off you go. If it's talking about residential flex space, I don't know what that is, and I'm not comfortable with it being in this agreement.
That's a good point. Well, and we don't want to leave a door open, then it can be later defined to what it is, depending on who's defining it.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm totally fine with removing that from the agreement. I'll move on to
Sorry.
these are notes from the planning commission meeting. Because they're being allowed that residential component, this is why we have a development agreement. They benefit by getting residential units. We need to, decide how it benefits, what benefits the city as well. So one of their notes was the screening, in these 2 circled areas. So that, on the south side is adjacent to J.M. Thomas, and they are putting, townhouses right along there. So there was concern about screening between the residential units and the manufacturing right there. And then also the upper one is residential that's adjacent to the rail line. So their recommendation was to add something in here regarding screening. Tammy did find this call out in 1720-010 under fencing, that we can require solid board, chain link, other non-climbable fence when it comes to the rail lines, or if we feel like an adjacent property would have a sound nuisance or a dust type nuisance, we can call out a non-climbable fence or a wall. I feel like this is something that can be defined as part of allowing them to have that residential component in their development agreement. The city is allowed to define what they would like to see for the perimeter screening. The second note was open space, and amenities. If you look at this section of townhomes, there's not really a whole lot of open space or any type of grass area for someone to take a dog out or a kid out, anything like that. That's just a lot of potential families packed into that area without any type of open space or, amenities there.
Andrew, I can't tell on the drawings, but what are the two big buildings to the left along the railroad tracks? What-
Okay, so those aren't buildings. The one on the north.
Those are
is-
detention.
Yes, that's UDOT's detention basin, and then the southern one would be their detention basin, which they're calling out as their open space.
Which could be, I guess, okay.
If it was, I guess, developed, it's spelled out how you have a walking path around it, but
Well, it could be a park
Park?
or something.
Well,
I don't
the
know.
big one is UDOT, and that's privately owned, so this
They'll
development
fence it off.
would not. But it's not really used at this point, it's just cattails and doesn't function as a detention basin. We've tried many times to get that and use that as part of our stormwater, but anyway, it doesn't have a good outflow into the industrial park. That's a problem with it. But that's not part of this. I don't know what their plans are, just to utilize it. I mean, is UDOT giving them any?
They said that they're gonna try and talk to UDOT about combining those, and Tyson would love to get his hands on that UDOT detention basin, cause it's an absolute mess and backs up water anyway.
This drains down 2550.
so,
Part of it goes into that, part of it goes into 2700.
It doesn't go across the tracks right now.
It does, yeah, it drains, but it doesn't, the outflow is not big enough. Or anything, that's why they don't use it.
so Andrew, are you recommending, you're talking about, all the residential components, there's nowhere for anybody to go, so what are you recommending?
Okay, so, I'm gonna go back to the perimeter screening. So we added the language, developers shall provide screening improvements along the property boundary adjacent to residential uses as approved by the Pleasant View City Planning Commission. So that leaves it up to the planning commission to make a recommendation on what they would like to see, around the property. On the stormwater, since we touched on that real quick, they had in the agreement that any project or regional detention pond would be dedicated to the city. Tyson indicated that if they do combine the two ponds, he'd be happy to have it deeded to the city and take over maintenance of that. However, if they're just using that as a private detention basin, the city doesn't want that dedicated to us. They're gonna be, on the hook to maintain that in perpetuity. Number 6 was hopefully addressing the open space and amenities, and it was just wording as developers shall provide open space, walking paths, and or landscaping exclusively for residential component as designated by the city in accordance with the conditional use permit, because any mixed use residential component in here has to go through a use permit. So those conditions can be placed on that permit. I did send all of this change wording to the developer and didn't hear back from him at all.
Question? This, Matt, you can maybe respond to this. Under section 11 miscellaneous, developers may assign this agreement in whole or part to any third party without the prior consent of the city. What are your thoughts on that?
I usually say with the consent of the city, which shall not be unreasonable withheld. Yep.
So
I would prefer that language as well.
what paragraph is that?
That is section 11 miscellaneous, starting with developers, it's the second sentence.
In 11A.
Yeah,
11A.
11A, sorry, yep.
Say, repeat what you wanted to say.
So in my opinion, it'd say developers may not assign this agreement in whole or in part to any third party without the prior consent of the city, which consent shall not be reasonably withheld. Or unreasonably withheld, excuse me. Yes, unreasonably withheld.
Because right now it says it doesn't have to have the consent of the city, which
Correct.
that's not a good idea.
And I'm sorry, just one more thing, but I did notice that we have two different entities that we are agreeing to this, or that are part of this agreement.
I'm gonna
And-
have Matt weigh in on legality of that, but they are the current property owners.
And yeah, Matt, you can weigh in, but I don't like that. I think that causes a lot of problems if they don't see eye to eye in the future. And I think if they're going to do this project together, they can form an entity that we can have this agreement with.
They can. I don't know that we necessarily have legal authority to require that, because they're binding themselves both to this agreement. So they'd be both bound by whatever this agreement states, so. It's something I'm happy to look into, but
Just
good
my
question.
sense.
I was trying to think what, other comments the planning commission made. There wasn't a lot as far as public comment went. The developers got up and expressed their feelings about a couple different things. But I think they were all addressed with the changes. We met with them, on Wednesday DRC following that planning commission meeting and kind of talked through this. So I was hoping that he would be agreeable to this language. I sent it to him the next day, and I didn't get a response.
So we could technically approve it with the changes that we just discussed, and then they could come back and say no, but we at least did our part.
Yep.
Can we list them all? Of what we changed here?
Who's keeping track of all those?
It's removing the flex use and then changing the may to may not. Is there other
The open spaces. was
Open
something.
space. is-
fencing? The open space is.
That's in
just
the-
it's-
agreement,
that's part of
and the
their-
perimeter screening is in the agreement as.
Per
as it
planning
presented to you.
commission's.
Yes,
it's already in there.
Yes.
Recommendations.
Yes, so the detention basin, the screening and the open space are all in the development agreement as presented to you.
So really the only changes is the flex and the may to may not. Is
Yep.
that the only?
And then, yeah, may not be may not be assigned, and then, the city shall not unreasonably withhold that assignment. So you can, Lori may not be happy with my statement here, but you can, motion to approve with the changes discussed.
Oops, have to Go back and listen to all. that.
That's why I said she may not be happy with.
She gets it right every
Okay.
time. I have no doubt that Lori can do it. Having said that, are we ready to make a motion?
I'm hoping I'm concerned about the open space, but I'm hoping that I mean, is there something we can do to require that still, or is that?
It still has to come through.
That goes with site plan approval, the open space and all of
It goes
that.
with their conditional use
With their
permit for the
conditional use, so we
residential.
can, and maybe at the planning commission, you can mention what we talked about. Yeah. What we would like to see.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
gets the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Well, and hopefully with the developer hearing feedback, they would maybe adjust their site plan accordingly before they, come to get approval on it.
Good suggestion.
Okay.
Just a, can I,
I can hope.
just a thought on this too. If we think about, this is probably the major intersection of our city, right?
Yeah.
I don't know the history behind the development or figuring out what we want there. But if this is it, then, and
Mhm.
everybody who's had hard in putting this together, but this is the
No,
intersection. of-
no promises have been made, but it's been said, it's gonna be the best looking corner in Weaver County. And I was, I've told him, just without any quid pro quos or anything, that we want good things there, and I have nothing specific, obviously, he's come forward, nor, this is just a preliminary design, but there is still a lot of things they have to work on, some roads, some accesses, some different things that are gonna come.
Mhm.
That he's got a uphill battle, unfortunately, but
Yeah, everything we have is just a concept at this
Yeah.
point, so it all has to go through that approval process, so it could change slightly or maybe significantly depending on.
I've heard Big Boy Toys is going, I've heard that they're gonna rebuild, there's several different things that are still
Yeah.
down the road.
Yeah, for years, this was gonna be a Costco and a Target and everything else,
Grocery
but,
store, yeah.
but not only is it a prime piece of property, but it's very difficult because
Yeah.
UDOT's
Yeah.
made it almost impossible to do anything.
And that is
with.
part of the thing of the ins and outs, gonna be right in, right out on most of it. How you get into it.
Yeah, we don't want to constrict the.
Here we have Pat
Floor,
already.
the
Pat,
floor.
we're just making the decision. So
Okay.
So you're just perfect time.
You'd like me to go ahead?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the development agreement for mixed-use commercial residential development to be conducted in 3 phases, with the corrections and the amendments suggested by, that we've
Everyone.
discussed by everyone, located at 2700 North Highway 89.
Do we have a motion?
I'll second the motion.
Do we have a second? All in favor? Is this a roll call?
Is this a roll call?
Roll call on
Okay.
development agreement.
Oh. If I don't have paper here, I go with Laurie. I don't know, maybe it is somewhere in there.
Did I forget?
No, you're good. Yuri,
Yes.
Marriott,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Wilkinson. Yes. Okay, that passes 5. We have a lot of changes, Pat, but we want a great development down there. Nothing sloppy. All right, item number 11. And we're going to, we're bringing this back. There was some misinformation and some different things. The TIF aspect, was denied, which was part of their public funding that they were gonna get. This is the PID for the, Far West Landing down there. I have invited Drew to speak to us in a minute, and Mayor Bolos to speak to us in a minute. They're both, Mayor Bolos is with Far West. Drew Schneider is with Watsonia, and I have another gentleman with you, so I don't know who he is, but Andrea, Jordan? Joran. But we're gonna hear from Andrea first, and she's gonna talk a little bit about it, and then we're going to allow some of these guys to speak on behalf of the PID, if that's okay.
Okay, so this item is before you again. You did have it on your last council agenda, but because we didn't have a corrected letter of intent and petition, we couldn't take action on that. So this is the same slide as last time, what a PID is. This is what they're proposing to bring into that development. This is a layout. It's 37.697 total acres. The acreage that it affects in Pleasant View, 8.01. Here's the proposal with the numbers out here. Our PID policy says that they can't do a tax levy more than 6 mills, which is $6 per $1,000 of taxable value. The housing element is not included in their map. On the far right, that's the FLEP, or the final local entity plat. So only the outlined areas in that are included in this public infrastructure district. So as you can see, the section right about center that's excluded is going to be proposed housing. This just kind of runs the numbers. In their letter of intent, they only included Far West City's numbers on the tax rates. So I've run the numbers for Pleasant View because our certified tax rate is a little bit higher than Far West's.
Where is there? Oh,
Yeah, on the right-hand side, Pleasant View's tax rate is that 786 as compared to the 333 that Far West City has. So then I've dropped those numbers down for the total tax rate and the difference with the proposal of the 6 mil tax levy. Over on your left-hand side is what they've been seeking as far as public financing for their development. So as you can see, they've got a total infrastructure cost of 27 million. And then
So just for clarification, out of 27 million, the developer is funding 7 million?
So with the Far West CRA changing, that is gonna affect their numbers. So I'm not sure what the actual number is at this point. What's being proposed in the PID itself is the 3,055,000. So that portion would be covered in this district, and that's what would be bonded for properties.
But the majority is coming from public funds, tax dollars.
In this proposal, yes, I don't know what the final numbers look like. So these are some issues that were brought up by Weber County. A PID can't be co-created, which is how they've applied for this PID, is for a co-creation between Far West and Pleasant View City. As Stephanie points out, it's not a no, it's a yes, but. So let me just like flip to the next slide real quick. So your options as far as as the PID approval goes tonight is a no, you don't want to participate at all in the PID. And then we would just enter into an interlocal transfer agreement because we have public infrastructure that would be on the Far West side of things. So we would need a transfer agreement in order to go to that stormwater and sewer infrastructure. And then anything included in that PID in our city boundaries. If you say yes, and allowed Far West to be the creating entity of this, then they would have the developer create a governing document, which would go through on what could be included in that public infrastructure district and what tax mill levy that they would go with. So if we entered into an interlocal agreement with Far West to participate in the PID that they've created, we would either have to be able to come to an agreement with Far West City on the terms of that governing document, or we would be bound by anything that Far West decides. So it just kind of depends on how workable it is between the two cities. There's also the option of yes, but, and that would be creating a separate PID for Pleasant View City. I do not believe the developer is looking as that the most advantageous approach of it. But so those are basically your three options tonight, or you could table it for further consideration. Questions?
So I've asked Drew to present some too. I don't know, does anybody have any questions for Andrea until, I would think the questions would come after the presentations, I would assume. So Drew, please, Drew Schneider, he's from Nebraska.
Yes.
He's brought warm weather with him.
Not exactly, but
He's gonna be best friend of Pleasant View, right?
yes.
Of course.
Yes. Well, first off, this has been a marathon. So Andrea, thank you. Mayor, thank you. The staff has been amazing. We do weekly calls. I think I'm on speed dial, everybody. Andrea's probably like, not the Nebraska the 402 area code again. So anyway, I just want to thank everybody. This thing has really gone on for a long time. And it's complicated. It's a really complicated transaction. I don't think we totally knew what we were getting into when we signed up for this thing, but I do think it's going to be a great project. I think, and Andrea's slides were actually really helpful. If who's ever driving, if you want to shift back to the funding, kind of the capital stack, yeah, right there. Okay, great. And I've got a little handout that I think will be helpful. We created this afternoon, so bear with me. Yeah, okay. And I apologize. Some of these printed a little bit smaller. I think this will help a little bit. We have enough. Or I can throw it away.
I can share with you.
Yeah, we sure.
Okay. I have more, so I don't know.
Oh, I should mention quick that they have had a discussion with Far West, and Far West is considering this, but lowering the mill levy to 5 mills, which is what he has indicated on the sheet.
And Far West still hasn't approved any sort of PID.
No, I believe it's going to council next Thursday.
But they still haven't though.
Correct.
Yes.
And we're gonna give Mayor Bolos a chance to comment as well before we.
Yeah, so what you'll see on the sheet, again, complicated piece of property, but really what we're talking about is we call it the shark fin. It's the northern, and Andrea mentioned it, it's the northern 8 acres. Initially, this was predominantly gonna be all tension. And so we got into the engineering of the site, we were able to shrink that basin which you can see is lot 8, and I apologize, this map didn't go all the way up to the door. But that allowed us to retain 5 developable acres. And obviously, this would be subject to council approval. We would like to come back. I can't remember, but we've got to go through a rezoning application with Pleasant View. So obviously, this is a little bit hypothetical, but assuming the council would approve this, we would like to kind of put this land in service and get it developable. We're showing a hotel and then 2 restaurants on this property. You know, one of the other big burdens that I think has always kind of made this a challenging project is building a mile worth of new road to get all of this interconnected and really activating all this property. I mean, you can see the shopping center, which has generally stayed the same, that remains in Pleasant View, Far West. That's not highlighted in yellow, but then the shark fin property all in Pleasant View. So we kind of sketched out, you know, really, again, assuming a rezoning would be approved, and we could get those uses to locate on that property, there really would be a sales benefit to Pleasant View. And so we think a 120 key hotel, 4 million in sales, 2 restaurants, 7 million total annual sales. We could bring, you know, 10 to maybe 13 million in total gross sales. I don't know exactly, we don't have time to research everything, but maybe Andrea can help us on what sales tax percentage Pleasant View gets. We just put in 1% just to try to show a benefit. But you can see the sales tax benefit. And then the property tax benefit, this is based on some comparable properties. A hotel would be about 15.3 million. And then 2 restaurants we thought would be right around 6 million in total taxable value. So just short of 20 million. And so then a 5 mil PID, and again, I'm happy to walk everyone kind of through the math, but you can see what a 5 mil PID and NPV is net present value. So really, what are those revenue streams worth today if we were to go bond those revenue streams with like a D.A. Davidson or something like that? And really the reason I'm here and we're going to talk to you about the PID is the original structure of this whole project was based on, and Far West has been fantastic. Like I said, this has been going on for about 2 years, but there was a sales tax sharing agreement and then there was a property tax TIF. And over the course of a year, the taxing entities declined to participate in the property tax TIF, which put a huge burden on this project. So if you go back to Andrea's sheet, and I think what she says possibly changing, that is drastically changing. So there is $5.8 million that's coming out of $12.78 million. So that money is just gone. The county and the school district, they all declined to participate, which was a surprise. I won't tell you all the backstory, but the previous administration did a great job. Probably could have approached it maybe a little bit differently, but it is what it is. So really our intent is we want to do the project and we want to move forward. The staff has spent an incredible amount of time with us. It's designed, the anchor retailer is ready to move forward. We'd like to come back to Pleasant View, ask for your consideration on a rezoning. The PID is really intended to replace what we lost with the property tax TIF. So this chart on the right-hand corner of this plan I just handed out, you can see the original TIF amounts. So the participation agreement caps, those are really the dollar amounts. So what is coming out of that 12,780,000, I think is this participation agreement cap of 5,780,000. That's the exact number that would get reduced by. So a 30-year PID at 5 mils brings in gross revenue of 8,754,000, net present value of 3,692,000. D.A. Davidson helped us prepare the LOI and the petition. They put in the actual bond numbers. So when you take into consideration some of the costs of bonding, the revenue stream, the dollars are less. But that would be our ask of the city council tonight. Really to help us, this is the last step. This is the last step we really need to get this project moving forward. It's been 2 years in the making. Staff's been great. We've worked through them with all the WACOG, just all the details that we've had to work out. It's been extensive. So, with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. I just want to make sure the council really understands really what we're asking. And I think it's helping Far West. I mean, again, one of the challenges with this project is it's in 2 different municipalities. And it's been very challenging working through the process. And so most of this is in the West, I recognize that, but there is a portion, and Pleasant is obviously administering the WACOG funds. So we're working extensively with your staff to get that done and get this road. So, with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Before you do that, Mayor Bolos, would you come up and I'm gonna have some of the questions delivered to both of you guys?
Yeah, sure.
In just a second, would that be okay, Drew?
Yeah.
We'll tag team the questions, have you both stand up and throw the darts or
I've been
daggers.
taking notes, what you do different here. It's nice.
This hasn't been very good, I'm sorry, I've been making
You've
it
done
longer.
Speak
done
for
a great
yourself.
job.
No, I'm just kidding.
You guys are awesome. I like your desk better than mine, so. Let me just add just a couple thoughts that when you, Sarah, you asked a question on the funding amount and is the majority coming from, public funding versus private? Maybe Drew has already mentioned this, but the total private investment from the developers, almost $224 million.
I'm talking about the table that's.
Just the PID, yeah. So
The infrastructure, I think.
it's only 6%. I think the private or the public investment only represents about 6% of the total
No,
development.
but I was referring to the table there, according to the PID,
Sure,
most of it's coming from public funds.
correct. So I put some notes on this because I wasn't always on board with this, and I've spoken to several people. So rather than the PID being looked at as a money grab or maybe double dipping by the developer, which is where I was at a couple weeks ago. So I've kind of, and Drew can probably attest to this, I've really pushed back on the PID and some of the participation agreement and some of the other incentives that the developer's been asking. So we did a lot of due diligence. We reached out to third parties, we reached out to consultants. Doug Larson's our economic consultant on this project. Spoke with the county commission and also counseled with Stephanie Russell, been mentioned. I just want to mention, and I received a message from the county. Stephanie said, this PID will allow critical infrastructure in this project to be funded by this development itself rather than placing the financial burden on existing residents or taxpayers. And so that's the counsel from Stephanie Russell. And we've relied on a lot of what she has had to say on helping us direct this as we move forward. And I just want to be clear, the PID itself is assisting us as a city in our effort to help the developer recoup that roughly $6 million shortfall that now they're not getting from the municipality participation from Weber County, largely from Weber County and the school district. And so it is a help from Far West. It's an ask from Far West asking for help to recoup that money that the previous Far West, and they were great, previous administration in their efforts felt really confident that they were going to be able to do that. They weren't able to secure that funding. And so this PID is an effort to try to capture back what West didn't promise, but advocated for and lobbied for. So I want to make sure that was clear. As far as the mutual benefits, Drew already talked about the shark fin. That adds, immediate sale when it's developed. That's a sales tax producing asset to Pleasant View. I think as it were, if it's not developed, it's sort of a retention basin. It's not really usable without it being developed. So hopefully that's looked at in a positive light. But ultimately, in good faith, the PID participation is a neighboring effort with us. I would hope that if you were in a similar situation, and we've been working on this together for over a year, well before I was here, so over a year and a half, that we would work as a team to try to collaborate on helping that move forward. And ultimately, do we feel like Target, which is the anchor tenant, and I think everyone knows that, do we feel like that? Do we want that in our community, and do we want all the benefits that's gonna come with it? The additional shopping, the additional retailers will be interested, the additional positive growth that'll create sales tax base to both communities and the surrounding cities. And the selling point for me on being willing to help with the PID was, again, going back to Stephanie Russell, and where our city council is. I think you asked Sarah, are we planning to, have we approved PID in Far West? No, but we did meet as a CRA board last week, and we are intending to approve the PID with the reduced mill levy rate from 6 down to 5. So the ask was for 6. We're planning to approve it at 5. And the reason we got there is that this is not a tax burden on any of our residents, existing residents, or any of the existing businesses in our city. This is only dealing with the district where this PID is being formed. So that's where I'm at as a city. We're planning to approve it next week in our city council meeting.
Mayor, may I ask a question? So in your participation agreement with the Far West City CRA, how much did Far West just negotiate to reduce your Far West CRA contribution to the developer?
Good question. We remodeled the I don't know if it's a renegotiation, but we remodeled the participation agreement. We're not, we didn't reduce any of the participation. We're still willing to give $7 million of our sales tax to the developer in the participation agreement. What we remodeled was the first years 1 to 5 was originally approved at 0%, where the city received 0 sales tax in years 1 to 5, and now we're going to get 15%. So we're participating along with the developer earlier in the project as opposed to later. So it benefits the city. Essentially, it allows us to start capturing real sales tax revenue up front.
But your remodel of that changed their ultimate number from the Far West CRA to do public infrastructure or public and private infrastructure. And so the lift goes to the PID to pick that up because Far West asked for sales tax right off the bat.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the Far West CRA, 12,780,000, that's gotta get reduced, down to 7.
I understand that. And that's what I'm saying is because,
So that would go up to the developer funding bucket if you're trying to reevaluate. So it's basically.
right, so I came out with about 14.6 million would be the developer funding.
Yes. it's
for the
like a-
infrastructure.
it's like a 50-50. Now, if you're looking at the total public infrastructure, 27, call it 27.3 million, 50% of that.
Andrew, I apologize. We just barely got that back from Doug at like 6 o'clock tonight, the revised CRA. So I don't even have the number in front of me.
I have a question for Andrea. I met with her and talked with her. She also met with the economic development team with Weber County with this PID proposal. Can you let us know what they mentioned to you?
When I approached Miss Russell, who he referred to about this PID in Pleasant View, she said, I would say not say no, but expletive no.
I can show you the text if you guys want.
I'm not saying what she said to you, but I'm telling you what I heard just yesterday in person talking to her at approximately 4 p.m.
Because of what?
Yeah, because why?
Well,
If you don't want to say, you know.
Yeah,
I don't.
I don't want to get into a full conversation about this whole development and Stephanie Russell's feeling on it. But apparently she's.
I don't know if we should.
Telling
talk
different
about
things.
hearsay.
I'll publish. I know Stephanie, counsel to me, we've counseled a lot on this project. She has been very adamant that we remove the sales tax from participation from, and that's just Far West City, that's nothing to do with the PID. That's what she's been adamant about with me. Her counsel is if you can get rid of the sales tax participation, don't give up any of your sales tax. That's what her counsel was. But this was negotiated well before I was here, and it was already approved by a previous city council before I was sworn in, so it has nothing to do with me, and we'd already approved it and accepted it as a city.
Any questions from the council? For these, any three, Andrea, Drew, or Dave?
I got a question. Question on looking at the map here. I see you've got lots 4 through 10. And I'm assuming, are these also restaurants? These, looks like
Yeah, yes.
So I have the breakout up here of what goes on each lot. According to their application.
How many of these tenants do you have a contract with?
Um,
Not letters of intent, but a contract that they're actually coming.
say we have 3 that are under contract or executed.
3 out of how many?
Maybe 9 lots.
Sarah,
But the,
just kind of
well,
have
but
a
I-
little bit of our CRA, because I want to make sure they understand, our CRA is contingent on Target being the anchor tenant.
Do you
Meaning,
have a contract with Target?
well, we're not supposed to publicly say that, but.
I'm probably getting them in trouble
He-
by mentioning
the
it.
mayor's getting me in a little bit of trouble, but yes, I mean, the answer is yes, but
You
this
have
is,
a
but you also have to understand, everything is contingent on. And I feel a little bit bad for Pleasant because you guys have been great, but everything has to be done. I mean, when we do these big, large shopping centers like this, everything has to be done, and I think I can understand maybe there's a little bit of fatigue and things like that are happening, but, that's why we've had to do weekly calls, keep things moving, work through all the WACOG details. The property tax TIF was definitely a blow, and we thought that might implode the whole project, but replacing with the PID is a great option. Obviously, that we need council's consent and approval to do that.
So can I clarify though, because the PID was in the works prior to the whole, at the same time as the CRA. I received letter of intent way back early summer last year.
I think I'd have to go back and look, Andy, but I think we got notice from Mayor Ken that he was not getting support from the taxing entities pretty early on last year.
I received the petition letter. At that point, it was talked about far sooner than that. So I want like open, honest up front. Was this considered regardless of if you got the CRA or not?
Well, I think it was such a shock because everyone just operated with so much confidence that the taxing entities were gonna participate. So, yeah, I don't know, as far as the timing though, yeah, that's the intent, is to replace with property tax increment we're gonna provide.
kind of a follow-up question. Is this a all or nothing situation where we either say yes, or is it negotiable that if half of the amount or whatever, is that even a consideration? Has that been
So
discussed?
like I was indicating, if you say yes, then it depends on how willing Far West is to let Pleasant View dictate negotiations for that governing document. If they are the creating entity, they ultimately have say over what that governing document says, and we'd have to enter into an interlocal agreement or vice versa. But where 90% of the development is in Far West, it really seems ridiculous for us to be the creating entity.
Right.
I would suggest Far West be the creating entity.
Then we don't have a whole lot of say of what we get to do.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I think you set the mill rate, right? That's it. I don't know that there's a lot to really do within these districts. I would say this though, just so I can set the stage. This has been going on, all the underlying contracts are coming up. They've extended 5 or 6 times. So our deadline on this product, this is either gonna start or fall apart on March 12th. So whatever we need to do, that's our deadline. So all the agreements, everything, I know we have to get a development agreement done, I think brought before you guys, I think that's gonna happen on March 10th. Which is an important document that governs the WACOG funding. But that's really our deadline. We just can't afford any more delays at this point. So, yeah, your support would be great. Councilman, to answer your question though, I mean, from our perspective, it would be really nice to keep consistency amongst the district, whether the property is in Pleasant Green or Far West.
Can I ask a question, maybe this is directed at you?
Yeah.
Is there a reason why we can't separate the PID, have two separate governing documents, one with each municipality, and you work out,
You'd be creating two different pits.
yeah, why can't we do that?
Well, according to their emails, that's not how they wanted to.
That's not how they asked for it, but I think for our attorney, that's how he was counseling, maybe we go,
He was giving basically the same options I am,
yeah. so-
which is the yes, but would be us creating our own pit.
We love to create one PID for simplicity. This thing has so much complexity already. But ultimately, if the municipalities decide we each want our own individual PID, we would be okay with that. It would be our preference to have one, again, for simplicity, but if we have to have two, that would be okay.
So I don't want to throw Far West under the bus, but I'm going to. My recommendation would be either no or yes, but. And that's simply because when this letter of intent and the petition were submitted, I went through and line by line went through this petition and the LOI, and I sent it back for corrections on several things that didn't jive. And Far West accepted that document. So unfortunately, I wouldn't put it in Far West's hand to create that governing document and be thorough with it.
Wow. She doesn't like Far West much.
This isn't personal. This is what is in best interest for our city as well.
Maybe I just add to that, if we go that route, which is fine, my thoughts on the PID approval is that we've been partners in this project the whole time. And Far West took the lead to try to secure the property tax participation, which it failed to do.
But because it was all in Far West.
And I can answer for that, I wasn't there.
We only have a tiny piece here. This really is your project. I don't know why we would be approving a PID before Far West even does it. This is all backwards to me. We're putting the burden on our residents quite a bit heavily for
This is
90%. Well, 90% of the projects in your city, so I understand burden of the tenants that would be there. So I fail to understand why we need to do something first when Far West should be approving their PID first.
I just had to work out your council meeting.
So, I mean, I don't think that's a big deal. I mean, we're either gonna do it or not. I don't think we're gonna do it if Far West doesn't, I guess. I mean, it doesn't make any sense if Far West doesn't do it, but
This is
our council
I
meeting is
understand.
here, and this is only for that area. This doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the residents. It's only that little square that would have that liability of whatever the number is for that section.
So as I'm looking at this, I guess you could we've been under the gun because they deadline. And so we've got this on your agenda as soon as possible. But you could potentially table this, allow Far West to go and create a governing document and then decide if you want to enter into an interlocal agreement.
But we already have a document that
Not a governing document, no.
But we have, what was the document you were talking about?
The letter of intent and the petition.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I add
And that's
something?
only an intent.
So go ahead, Drew.
Honestly, if you elect to do this, which we would greatly appreciate your support, I would just ask for a conditional approval. If Far West doesn't do it, don't do it. I mean, these guys are the bulk of the PID, and so they're not gonna do it. I mean, we've had hours of conversation on this in the last 2 weeks, and so, I guess that would be my ask. And I agree with the mayor, it's really in the spirit of partnership and cooperation. And I realize it doesn't you feel like, well, we just have this little piece, but I mean, the reality is we've been all working together for 2 years. This has been a ton of work. And so, that would be my ask tonight, if you would elect to move forward, just make it conditional. Make it conditional on their approval, which I think is gonna be on March
Thursday next week.
Yeah.
But that would allow them to create a governing document, your approval next week.
We're planning to approve.
The letter of intent and the petition, do you have a governing document in your hand? Have you directed them to draft a governing document? Okay, so you're not approving a PID, you're approving them to create a governing document.
Correct.
But
Right.
I think, Andrea, it's just, for us, it's more of knowing that the council is supporting this. That would be my big ask, as the developer who's, you know, this is a big project.
I'm just trying to like get that out there, the timeline, that this is not approving a PID. This is just allowing you to go to the next step.
Right.
We're planning to authorize the PID creation next week.
Yeah.
In addition to approving the amended, participation agreement, which we've received and already sent for signature, and adopt that into our CRA area. And we've met as a CRA board to confirm that.
Right, but it's not until you have that governing document in your hand that you can approve that and then create the PID.
I think tonight is more the intent. You know, you and as a council, you intend on. So.
So at this level of the 5 mills, then just, you've probably already gone over this, but just so for clarification, then at 5 mills, how much do we put in and how much does Far West put in at that
It
rate?
doesn't cost the cities anything, it costs the property owners.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, what is that amount?
It's based on the taxable value of those parcels.
Yeah,
But yeah,
It's
we
prob-
talked about.
This is really rough math, so I apologize, but I'm gonna say it's probably 15 to 20% Pleasant View and 80% Far West.
So whatever is the taxable value of what goes on that shark fin is
Yeah.
gonna be taxed at an additional 5 mils.
Okay.
So their tax rate would go up 0.0005
okay.
as compared to what it is now.
Okay. Then a PID if you don't get tenants.
Well, the property owner is still liable for that tax bill.
Yeah, we would have to pay it.
You currently own it, so. Or
So-
We haven't acquired any of the property. We're waiting for
This
this
is all
to get-
contingent on every
This is all
little
thing
block
done.
falling.
So we did reject their petition and letter of intent originally because they didn't have 100% of the property owners' signatures on that, which is what held them back from last summer to moving it forward now, is that they submitted it with, because you have to have 100% of the surface property owners sign that petition.
For all the property, there's 6 property owners or 7 property owners. And so everyone's kind of in the boat together. We've been all doing this for 2 years. And so these guys it was very kind of them. They all agreed to consent to sign on the bid, moving this process forward, even though, because Andrea's right, because we don't have title to the property at this point.
Mayor Bolos, I'm just curious, like you guys decided to go from, what'd you say, 6 to 5? Can you tell me some of the like reasoning behind that?
In council with our attorney, he compared it to neighboring cities. And then likened it to Weaver County has a PID policy with a max mill levy rate of 5. So to be consistent, that was our reason for that.
Do you know the difference in the dollar amount or not really?
I have a spreadsheet.
So it would be $5 per $1,000 of taxable value rather than 6.
It's pretty minimal, but
Okay.
over the life of 30 years, it adds up to several thousands.
But if you do recall, I brought forth the comparison of Comfort Inn, and that would increase their tax bill $40,000 a year based on their taxable value.
It's a heavy levy, forgive me of the rhyme, but for tenants in a PID. It's a lot, I don't see how that encourages people to come to that development when you have additional tax that you have to pay.
We don't see any impacts. I mean, we've talked to retailers. We just didn't see any impacts. The anchor retailer consented to this. I thought that might be a ordeal. Wasn't. The reality is if the anchor goes there, I think the ancillary property will develop. If there's an additional mill levy, I don't think it's gonna impact the ability to market the sites. I really don't. And so.
Sorry, I was just gonna ask a question too. So with the change of the 5 mil versus 6 mils, does that change your 3,555,000, or is that still your ultimate number?
Are yours using six?
Up here.
Andrea? Your number there? is it-
Well, what they put as their sources, the PID funding is 3,055,000. So
Because
does that number change with their
think
reduction
you're
in the
right.
mill?
It must.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
I guess if this was such a good idea, is this becoming the norm? And I don't, check other cities or whatever else, to see this, creating these PIDs. Because to me, if I was a business and coming in and seeing extra taxes and stuff that I would have to pay, I'm not sure that, what's the incentive to somebody coming to that?
I think it's again, this is just a replacement economic development tool.
Well, I see an
Yep,
incentive for the
yep, yeah.
developer because it's less money out of your pocket that you have to bond, but why would a tenant want to come when they have to pay even more taxes?
According to Fiera Law Group, who we're using to create all of our bid documents, there's been 162 of them created in Utah. So there's quite a few PIDs in your state. I'm sure we could pinpoint specific ones that are close up here, but sounds like there's been a lot of districts created within the state of Utah.
Well, that's a good point Sarah raises though, and it's similar questions our council had during our CRA. Does the burden fall on you as a developer? The district, the tenants to bring the retailers?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, if it's a deterrent, we have to fully disclose all this information. So if it's a deterrent and I'm a restaurant and I say I'm not gonna be subject to this, you can go buy a lot somewhere else.
But you have letters of intent or contracts with 3 out of 9.
Yeah, right now.
And all of them have been told about the PID? Okay, so you have 30%.
Right, which for a project like this, Jordan can speak to this, he could, with Landmark, they're helping us market the project, the project can be very selective on who to bring into the project, and so, but there's been strong interest, and there really hasn't been any pushback.
And I mentioned the two that have reached out to us.
Sure.
Is that secret or? I'm already in trouble for mentioning.
I know.
Yeah, a little bit.
This is a public meeting.
Olive Garden is one, and then, Landmark Steakhouse, so they kind of come as a pair, but they're aware of it. And I would agree, the stronger the tenants, the more interest you're gonna have.
Are these fast food, any of these? Are these all sit down dining?
There might be one or two fast casual fast food, but I think predominantly will be sit down, and then it'll be non-restaurant. This isn't gonna be all restaurants.
Yeah.
There'll be general retail, things like that. So the other thing I would say, I truly believe, Jordan can speak to this, the mayor can speak to this, but these type of projects are a catalyst to bring other retail to submarkets. And having this shopping center get done, get built, you will see other retail come here. You just talked about a big project, top intersection within your community. This gets done, you're gonna get a lot more retailers looking up here. And they're not gonna care if the intersections in Pleasant View or Far West, they're gonna wanna care that they're close to a big shopping center like this. So that's just how we've seen things transpire over the years. And so I think this will really help just the area as a whole, bring more retail.
So the last comment that I have is, I just want you to take into consideration the precedent that you're setting. You've got Mr. Burns sitting in here. What's gonna stop him from coming in next on that development? So you just have to consider if you're willing to open the door for everyone.
And what precedent is that?
By approving a PID, they're now opening the door for other developments.
To take out of it.
Can you repeat that? What did you
It-
say? I'm sorry.
it wouldn't be, it is a legislative decision though, so it's not, there's no precedent, it's just,
Well, why did we say yes to one and no to another?
You can have your reason. It's a legislative decision. You have that authority to say yes.
As far as, okay.
Yes.
So,
Probably a good point, though. If the project wasn't a $230 million project, maybe that's a different discussion.
It's just something to consider.
Which was the county's council, the reason they were giving construction and council to do it was because of the size of the the size of the budget.
I got a question, and I'm just trying to take it all in still, but I don't see a downside to us participating in this. I mean, what is the downside of it? Because, right, if the development doesn't happen, they own the property and they would have to take care of that, right? The
If the
pit.
purchase doesn't happen, they won't own the property because they don't own it now. They won't own it until everything's done. They'll go back, they'll revert back to the 6.
That's
Property.
not
We
correct.
We have it done by March 12th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if we don't approve anything, if you don't, the project's not approved, you're not gonna be here. You're not gonna own the property.
No.
I think Dave tried, though, if the PID gets approved, the debt, that's his responsibility.
It's on us.
It's not the city's,
Yeah.
it's not
No.
yours, it's not
If-
mine.
It
if
is. It's
part
not,
of
it's not the property owner or the tenant that buys that or leases it, whatever, that.
Right.
money's just
I
gonna
think,
be
I
rolled
think
into
even
the-
if it remains I mean, Matt might be able to speak, to this, but I think even if it remains vacant property, I'm subjecting myself to a higher tax rate.
Right.
Even if I don't develop it, or I never get a hotel, or I never get a restaurant, case scenario, I think I'm still subjecting myself to a higher tax.
So question though, if Far West decides to do the pit and Pleasant View doesn't, you
I don't know
still
if I'm
move
done or
forward
not.
with the project. You don't need Pleasant View.
But it would be really nice to have Pleasant.
But what I'm saying is, this is not contingent on whether or not we approve our portion.
That's true, but.
But that's why I'm here.
No, I get it, but why is it, I mean, we have a very small finite portion. Why have Pleasant View do theirs first, or why do you need that? You've got 90% of the project.
Well, if you look at the map, I mean, this isn't, the pit helps a lot, but it doesn't replace what we lost with the property tax. We're still short. We're making.
So you need our portion to make up for what you lost.
I mean, it would.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it would be very helpful. We would appreciate that.
So I just ran some quick numbers, and if you're saying that Pleasant View is 20% of that, then our portion over 30 years, well, would be $600,000. So that's my question. Does that make or break your development?
No, that's why I said, it's not. Getting your approval or not approval to Mayor Bolos' point is.
You'll move forward regardless of whether you have us or
We
not.
wanna move forward. Getting your partnership and buy-in so that it's one contiguous district, even if it's over 2 municipalities, would be very helpful. And it does add $600,000 to where we've already lost all the property taxing. So your partnership and cooperation would be greatly.
It's a good question, though.
Okay.
But can I answer?
Well, yeah, he just
We
has
are
to.
we're going to move forward with
Mhm.
or without Pleasant View's decision to move forward. I'm just here representing the city, asking you to help us participate because the city previously failed to secure the property tax, which is what they were hoping for. That's what they were planning on.
Is there a way to,
Your job to secure that, though. They've applied for something, they're, the
But we
consultant
didn't
goes
take that
to.
on. We took that job on as a city and we were the one who presented. The city presented to the school district. Drew
Right,
never
the
went.
consultant did.
Drew didn't show up.
Johnny first, then Sean, please.
is there a way that we can, I mean, this piece up here, it is Pleasant, so, and what you've proposed here is nice. Is there a way to confirm that that will happen? That the hotel and the
Yes,
retail?
let's rezone it. I'm ready.
Well, no.
I just
we-
put
there's
that
no
on hold.
guarantees Until, there's no.
We haven't
guarantees.
received an application for that.
No,
They
there's
put it
no
on
on it.
hold.
Okay?
We would have to rezone it, we would have to
I
make
don't think
sure
that's-
it's everything, that's not even,
But it's
there's no
not better than
guarantees.
what it is today.
Anyway.
I don't think that'd be.
No.
Did you have another comment? No.
We're already participating in WACOG funding. The amounts that we're talking about are negligible for a project this size, in my opinion. If you're ready, I'll make a motion.
I did want to, I have a couple comments. I think one thing is as these, I can see this is very controversial and I'm not even exactly sure where I am yet, but I'm just thinking out loud here, but it's not like we're pulling a fast one on any companies, right? As they come in, like they know ahead of time. And so they know like we're coming in for a levy. The other thing is like, do we have to go with the 5.00? Do we have to go with the 5 mils? Can we do something different?
If you let them be the creating entity, we would be bound by whatever's in their governing document.
So what was your option?
And
with
that was
this?
another thing that I was wondering is like, do we want to have our own governing document? I mean, maybe we participate. We don't participate at the same level as Far West, but we come in with a level that we're more comfortable with.
think
And
was
that
one
would
of the
require the
options, wasn't
two
it?
pits. They would
And that
have
would
to
require
require
the
the
two
Far
pits.
West and a pit in.
And I know that's not exactly what they're looking for, but also like that's that's
Yeah.
good for us and good for them too in the long run. It's just that that's just not convenient, right?
Which is why I was saying I would do.
What was that?
I
Yes,
would recommend
but-
no or yes, but yes, but would be creating your own pit.
Because I don't know that I'm opposed to the PID. I just don't, just have some concerns about us having our own governing document. And I'm not exactly sure about the 5 mils. I mean, I want to think about that more. So I guess just putting that out there and talking about maybe a conditional approval too. But anyway, those are my thoughts.
I like that thought. I think I understand where you guys are coming from, but since two separate cities and we have two separate, tax rates and things like that, I think it would be in our best interest to do, if we did move forward, yes, but, and create our own PID.
Now, Matt, can you weigh in on this as far as their letter of intent and their petition included that flip on this slide? Would they have to resubmit a new flip for?
No, because you could, I mean, they're applying, so technically it would be like a denial for that participation, but approval if you're going that route. So if you're saying, yes, but we want to create our own, you're denying participating with Far West and creating your own. Does that make sense?
That's consistent with what Liam follows.
So how would you,
Liam's generally,
make
yeah,
that,
he's off.
how would you make that an emotion then, to be official?
You're just participating in the, so yes, to give them sorry, I'm just trying to think it through in my head here.
Okay.
Yes, you're giving them the go-ahead basically to create the governing document only as applied to the properties in Pleasant, and you're not gonna be participating with Far West, so. Or you're voting no to participate, so.
So the reason we would do this is more so that we feel like we have the control of our property. Is that what
Yes.
we're saying? Essentially?
Can I ask you that? What control
Yeah.
are we going to have? All we're deciding on is the mill levy.
Is that what it is?
Literally it. This all goes toward public infrastructure. We're not controlling what that is. They're gonna go through the subdivision process, get it all approved. We're just authorizing them to bond and use that money to build the infrastructure and get it paid back over time by the people who buy these lots.
So therefore, the only reason we would do that is because we think the dollar or the participation is not right.
Then we
That-
would just control the amount that we would levy.
If you thought 5 was too high, that's probably.
That's why we would do it, right? That's what I'm getting at.
But if we didn't and whatever else, and they decide, because they still haven't created their PID yet, this is just a letter of intent, we would be bound to whatever they decided.
Is that right, Matt?
You're saying, yeah, I'm gonna give you the answer that I paid a lot of money for. It depends. Really, because there's not necessarily an interlocal currently with Far West. And so that could be addressed. I mean, generally, when you have an interlocal, you're deciding who is the controlling legislative body.
And that could still come after if we said, yes, we're going to do this.
Yeah, Brody's the expert on PIDs. I'm just gonna throw that out there now, so, but I would just say that, yeah, I mean, there is some of that negotiation, but I think part of that too, that you have to take into your consideration is we have 15 to 20% of it here, so I don't know that Far West would want to say, you make all the decisions. I obviously can't speak for one legislative body or the other. But there is potentially some options there to, in that interlocal. You just have to have those discussions between the legislative bodies, and me and Liam will duke it out.
Is that something that has to come later, an interlocal agreement as well?
If you're saying yes to participate with Far West, if you're not creating your own.
Just creating our own, just create a whole nother problem, though, you know, I mean, I see like,
So I'm not an expert on PIDs either. So my question would be, where they've included a whole spreadsheet of infrastructure, would they have to divide out what infrastructure is in Pleasant View's and what's in Far West's PID?
Since we're all together in one group.
Seems complicated.
I don't know the answer to that, because it's really, because you're still not approving the PID, it's just giving them that nod saying, hey, create the governing document, we're gonna create that resolution
Because
then,
this is
so.
already done. You should see this WACOG spreadsheet that got created. It's
Okay.
the most complicated.
Well, you should have brought it, man.
Listen, I'll
That-
bring
But
it
that's
back.
not the spreadsheet I'm referring to. I'm talking about the table that was included in the LOI.
Yeah, but as far as breaking out what infrastructure is in Pleasant View or Far West, that's already done. We can do that. That's an easy.
So I'm just
exercise.
asking, does that happen? Does that occur where it divides the infrastructure, or do we all abide by the 3,555,000?
I'm just,
Sorry, I'm just
I'm
trying
just
to-
telling you, as a developer, we can do it either way, because we're
Yeah.
already doing the same exercise for WACOG.
Can we
Yeah.
put that as part of the motion?
To provide the updated numbers.
No, I just-
I would say it's not required at this.
I think you guys need to just decide if you want to participate or not. I think you should leave them together. Is making something separate is just gonna make it more complicated, I think. And it really is a small portion of the total bid is Pleasant View.
Right.
Oh, yeah, there is hey, guys, one thing that you should be aware of, there's, every PID has to have, legal team, accounting, an election agent, and a board.
Yes.
And that, according to DA Davidson, who has been assisting us in this process, is about $35,000. They said on average for a PID of the size. And so.
Who
and-
pays for that?
and what's that?
Who pays for that?
What comes out of the PID revenues. So if we create two of these things,
Oh, I see.
we're basically going, instead of spending 35,000 for one cohesive district, we're spending 70,000.
The overhead doubles.
The overhead doubles.
That makes sense.
But so I thank you, that's a good point, Jordan. I didn't think about that.
I just think you need to decide whether to go forward with it. It is 5%, you know, 5.
Are you ready for a motion?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we're getting more in the weeds, making it more harder than it has to be. And it's just a decision whether we do it, because it's not gonna cost the city anything, really. It's going to be on those property owners or those businesses to pay to take that over 30 years. And then that's where I have the problem, but I see it. And if I don't care, I don't care. I really don't, so.
I don't think it's gonna have any impact, and
I just,
Everything has an impact.
well, it's money.
well, but as far as marketing or, I mean, I wanna bring the highest, best use.
Out of $260 million, this is $3 million. It's not that big of a deal. And if this is the thing that sinks you, then
Well, I would-
shame on you, you know, I mean, just, that really, I mean, it's helping. It's taking some money from those things, but it's a small little sections. I think let's either say, yes, we want to do it. Or, you know, we've heard a lot from Andrea, which thankfully, you know, she helps keeps us right. Far West, I appreciate them. They're taking on the majority of this. And I do, if we make a motion to approve contingent upon Far West, for sure. Cause I don't want them to be saying, well, wasn't you gonna do it? I don't wanna do it. You know, it has to be, cause they're gonna be doing it. This document, if they're not capable of doing it, I don't know if we want to do that.
Well, if they're the creating entity,
Then they have to do it. So but we have to agree on it too, right? Or is that not?
It's part of an interlocal agreement.
So it'll be part of an interlocal agreement, which do we have a say if they leave something out or do something?
So we can say no if we don't like the thing and it has to go back, or do we have a say?
When we work together with legal team. Correct, yeah.
So Again, it's on the people. It really comes down to helping give the developer some money and putting that ownership on the property owners for 30 years. And it's gonna be, maybe, I don't know what, from mill levy of 6 to 5, 2 million something now. I don't know what it's gonna be. But anyway, somebody,
I will make a motion. So,
let's see if we have a second.
okay. I will make a motion that we approve the creation of a public infrastructure district for the Far West Landing development, contingent on Far West City also approving this public infrastructure district. And then we work together on that interlocal agreement.
You want to
And-
clarify what our participation is, them as the creating entity?
Yes, yeah, Far West would be the creating entity, and we dropped to 5 mills versus the 6 mills that is in the document we have.
Okay, we have a motion by
I'll second the
Wilkinson. We
motion.
have a second by Marriott. Is this gonna be roll call or is this gonna be?
I'd do a roll call.
Now Matt does a roll call with everything.
I'll read you the state code later, Mayor.
What?
I'll read you the state code later on.
That's why we're paying you the big bucks to make sure we do it right. All right, let's go. Have you got the list there, Laurie? Of who's gonna vote? Or Mike? Okay. Barry?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Marriott?
Yes.
Yuri?
Yes, because of the explanation, yes.
And? No, yes. You sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Holy cow!
Thank you, guys.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Good discussion.
Drew?
All
You're a
Thank
good
you,
man. I
Mayor.
don't care what everybody else says.
I don't know if
know.
you're interested in the next amendments about the mobile home park.
Yes, we're very.
I am. Physically.
Just before you walk out.
No, that was good. This is a big deal. It's good.
All right, so that was, where are we? 11, so this,
12, we're
this is 12.
Both of them.
Holy cow.
And now I don't remember. how this
Disposal
lines up.
of real property exchange for a road expansion public hearing. This is discussion of possible action to approve the disposal of real property located at 2739 North Parkland Boulevard in exchange for a road extension of 1740 West, 2700 North with the trailer park, and this is Andrea Steiniger. And this has been going on, and the need for this for a long time, even before this development. This was to try to get them to have an access out by with the fire department and having that onto Parkland. We owned the property. We're going to, this goes back to a Far West deal that we had years ago. We wanted to have that road, but the road's been moved from by Waycott to Weaver County, so anyway, and this has been, there's been so many pieces and parts to this, and I just want to applaud Andrea and our staff for all of the hard work and dedication to everything. And Drew, you might say that it's not, but it is a lot of hard work on behalf of our staff. And I just want to make that public, that I appreciate all of the hard work for these little teeny bits and pieces that really don't matter, other than we have the entrance and exit is in Pleasant View. So I think we should have a toll for this subdivision or this development, a toll road.
Totally.
Let's do that.
That'd be amazing.
Andrea,
Okay, so the piece of property that we're talking about disposing of is this 2739 North Parkland Boulevard. It sits there in the northeast corner of the mobile home park. As Steve mentioned, we have had an agreement with them to install a second access by a certain point because of the fire code with them putting the mobile homes back into that part. They're going to be required to have that second access for fire access. This appraisal came back in at $353,200, and we're incorporating this in a sort of exchange for another piece of property, which is down at the entrance to the mobile home park
The Jimmy John's.
at the Jimmy John's intersection. So the small box there, that totals about 0.23 acres there, and I think I don't recall how big this one was.
I think it's
I
less
thought it
than-
was about a half an acre.
Yeah,
Sorry, I don't recall right.
He gave part of that property to the company.
This piece was appraised for $211,800, at the same time that the other piece was appraised. WACOG funding was used to purchase that piece up on Parkland Drive for the Real on White expansion. So with the trade of these, we're ahead net in value, but anything that we got in value would have to be returned to WACOG, because that's how the parcel was purchased. They also wanted to do both of these items together because this section's also being funded by WACOG. So we rolled it all into one. Brooke with the county has been phenomenal on this. So we just need to have a public hearing.
Is this a public
Wait,
hearing?
yeah.
We will go into it. here.
0.80 Pam said on that. The purchase price of this, and I think I left that in my office, was slightly less than with closing costs. Yes, the value of the actual property was just slightly less than what it appraised for now. So it's similar in value to when it was purchased.
And they agreed to this?
So as of today, the acquisition agent has been trying to get a hold of the property owner and their attorney and has not got returned calls. She's put in the mail today, certified mail, with the offer, to the mobile home park. So there hasn't been a negotiated offer. I don't want to hold anything up, with the public hearing in order to move forward. Once that negotiation is settled, then that actual contract would come to you guys with the just compensation to approve.
I'd like to make a motion that we go into a public hearing. Oh, excuse me. I'd entertain a motion. I'm so sorry.
So
So
moved.
sorry.
I'll
I would
second.
like to I'd entertain a motion to go into a public hearing. Holy cow. Gee.
I made the
what old
motion.
man. You-
Second.
Sarah, oh, wait, Sarah and Ann.
I say it. I said
losing
yes,
it.
you can be.
I'm an old man, Dave. I've only been here 2 months.
Is it hot in here?
It's very hot in here. I'm super hot. Anybody want to comment from the public?
Wait, you have to vote.
Oh, all in favor?
Yes, I,
Ann, Johnny,
Johnny, yeah.
we're going into a public hearing.
Yes, I would love
We
to.
had a motion, a second. All in favor?
I,
Any opposed?
thank you.
We are now in a public hearing, I think. Are we?
Yes.
Anybody want to comment on this trade land swap? It's a really good deal. I think it's, we've been at it for a long time, I think.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
So I don't want to make that motion, but I'd like somebody here. Oh, any further
Does
comments?
that parcel complete everything that we need for
Yes.
the road?
Well,
No,
no,
but that's the next item.
we have, yeah, we have
All right.
the rail.
Mayor, I'd like to approve the disposal of real property located 2739 North Parkland Boulevard in exchange for a road expansion at 1740 West, 2700 North.
Okay, we have a motion by Arrington,
Second.
we have a second by Ferry on, probably need to have this be a roll call as well because we're disposing of property. Let's go with Sean,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Johnny, Dave.
Yes.
Oh, that was tricky.
Okay, there you go.
Right over you.
He's been
It's
very
supposed to be-
random.
Supposed to be random. I was given legal counsel and advice.
It's been very random today.
Great.
Be random, I was told. We pay good money for our legal counsel. All right. 13. We're almost done. Discussion of possible action to approve the Union Pacific Railroad's letter of understanding. And this has been long coming as well.
Yes.
Andrea,
And this answers Dave's question. In this small box of property, we have a privately owned parcel, which has now been deeded to Pleasant View City. We have.
Drew, pay attention to this. These are important things. You've been
None of that talking.
complaining and moaning for months. These are important things that are happening. All right.
Okay, so we have the private owner, that owned a sliver of this, which has been deeded to the city. The next piece is the mobile home park that we just talked about. The third piece is Tesoro Pipeline, which we're having to get a letter or a line crossing easement so that they can go across that. We won't own that piece, but we'll have the right to cross it. And then to the far left of that is the Union Pacific Railroad property that we've had to acquire. I brought this to you last week with just a head nod to go ahead and sign that letter of understanding. So this is a formality to approve that. It appraised significantly higher than we expected it to. And they accepted a much lower offer. And then, so if you look at the picture on the left, the red outline is what we're actually acquiring from UP.
And that goes all the way to 2700,
Yep, all from
correct?
2700 north up to where the north of that road.
So big pieces are coming together, Drew.
So it goes. Okay.
So all that little sliver, there's just countless property owners that we had to worry about. So anyway, I would, having said that, are we out of the public hearing? Or do we have,
Gonna have
we're
one.
going to have one? So somebody, other than me,
I'm
like
gonna
like to make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we adopt this letter of understanding.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Johnny, and there's a second, all in favor. Oh, yeah, does this need to be roll
No.
call?
Do we have to state the letter of who the letter of understanding is, or that's just a given?
It's listed in the
Okay.
agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. This, item 14, and this has kind of some special things with Heather, Rare Disease Day. This is consideration to declare February 28th, 2026 as Rare Disease Day in Pleasant View to raise awareness within our community, and we all know what things Heather's had to fight, and she asked if we could make that official, and I'm very proud to make that. So I entertain a motion to make February.
Go ahead. Keep going. Oh. Well, I mean, just a question of, what does that mean for us? I mean, I think it's a great idea, but
It's a resolution.
we're just a
It's
resolution.
It's just a resolution.
I mean, would we want to do anything additional to that or?
No,
A certificate, something?
We get the day off or?
this is just
The police department does have
recognition.
rare disease.
Yeah, you can have it off.
You guys.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to declare February 28th, 2026 as Rare Disease Day in Pleasant View City to raise awareness within our community.
Have a motion by Sarah,
I'll second the motion.
second by Marriott. On favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think that's really good. Let Heather know that.
Just a good thing.
Any opposed?
Day, the day after.
Any
that.
opposed? No. All right, we do have a closed meeting today. Let's, go ahead and have that. It should be short. So I'll excuse everybody and
Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Thank you.
Pat, thank you.
Snacks next
You
time.
didn't even have a Coke with you all day for all of this. How'd you do that?
Snacks, yeah?
Something to keep you awake. You didn't even have to. Brian didn't.
You guys are awesome.
See you later.
Have we stopped? Do we need to make a motion to?
Mhm.
Okay, let's take a 5-minute break for a minute. Use the restroom. We're gonna have a closed meeting. Thank you. No, we're taking a 5-minute break and then we'll go into a closed meeting. For Andy to use the restroom.
vote.
Wait, Mayor, we have to vote to go
You
for
can,
5
you
minutes.
can take a break and then come back.
Yeah,
Oh.
we're not in the closed meeting yet. We're just taking a break and then we'll go into the closed meeting. But Laurie,
We'll entertain a motion to go in closed meeting.
yeah, I won't make that motion.
Making a, like you're making a motion.
That's the hard.
How come sometimes, I mean, I know questions are roll call, but how come the other ones are?
Anything that's basically inviting any liability on the city or spending should be a roll call.
And
And
so
most
everybody
anything can invite
recognizes who's
liability.
saying what? Is that why? So everybody recognizes who's saying what?
It does make it clearer on the record, so. Yeah,
It's just another thing to justify our presence.
I do think that we should.
You wanna do that? Go ahead. We can bring it in and sign it or something, maybe at the workshop.
Yeah, and remember when I mentioned to you that highlighting the place as well? Sure.
Absolutely. I think that's
That's
good.
what there's something. In case we do have those special meetings.
Absolutely. Yeah, put it on social media, there was. And hey, don't say single out.
No, we're
Just-
but if we're gonna do an employee, we need to say their first. name.
No,
We need to say their first
you can say that. It's single out an employee, but for the rare. Reference that.
No, I won't.
But for the, if Heather wins the employee, we put
I
the
don't
name.
even know how we do that, decide that as a committee. We just go to one of them and choose each department, like, here's the police department, here's the police.
Yeah, just one month and just
I think that would be
maybe have
great.
some nominations or something.
I think that would be great.
But it's, once a month.
Transfer station.
So, let's have. No, no.
Get fined.
Man, it failed miserably.
No, this is awesome. We have a good time.
Oh, yeah.
You guys. That was so bad. It's all.
That's why I agree.
I'm gonna have a lot of things to sign tomorrow or Thursday or. Five. It's hot. Did we turn the heat down or something? Is it heating or is it just me? All right, everybody, let's come back. Can we? What do we call it? Closed meeting for what? I mean, I know it's. Collective bar, oh, it is? Okay.
We just said, give us the numbers. Show us what you. So that's that.
Okay, let's come back, everybody. It's like herding cats. And get everybody come. Get them come back. Herding cats. Hate to turn them loose because then we lose control. Oh, there's a little cool breeze coming. Thank
Better. Yeah.
God.
Right? Absolutely.
Am I gonna be sued yet? I don't know.
Remember my answer earlier?
So.
That I made a lot of money for?
Yeah. Okay.
It depends. That was hilarious.
All right. Everybody back? Dave, where's Dave? Ann, come on back. Or Ann, Sarah, sorry.
Get back here.
I don't know.
See, this is the perspective that I don't have, and I wouldn't have never known. I'd be like, oh yeah, sounds like a great deal. But if you've been burned,
Sean still has his.
you remember it.
Okay, we're gonna, I'd entertain a motion to go into a public, or to a closed meeting to discuss collective bargaining according to the Utah Open and Public Meetings Law Code 524205.
So moved.
So we have a motion by Arrington.
I'll second that.
So,
motion.
just gonna clar- so you did include there the purpose. Did you say where it was being held? Sorry.
Anytime.
In the motion, it has to be,
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
I know,
You're doing
Where
good.
else is it gonna be?
maybe, I don't know,
This is-
outside.
Thank you, Matt, and then just do it.
This is gonna be, the motion should include.
Okay. I'd like to include in my motion that we're having this at the Pleasant View City Council Chambers on the 24th of February at 8:52
And how many?
PM.
seconds?
Yes.
We have a motion, very precise motion by Arrington. Have a se-
Get it, Matt.
Do we have a,
Council, you were.
do we have a second?
Oh,
Please,
Please second it. I beg you.
please, somebody second
I
it.
think I seconded it once, so.
I hear that again, actually.
Dave, and this has to be a roll call too. Holy cow. Ferry,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Marriott. Yes. Yuri,
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Okay, we are now in a closed meeting.